I wasn't ready.
You're ready.
I was trying to tweet, and I was like, oh no.
Oh yeah, you think you got? I mean, it's a long intro. Gives us enough time to you think get a couple things out there, but
I think technically, I think that was the outro. Like,
it felt different.
yeah, I clicked the wrong one.
We could do it again if you wanted to.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I wanted to do the finally the Sean or the Donnie has returned has come back.
Finally. Yeah.
What a legend.
Yeah, of course, The Rock. Yeah.
Do you feel like he's kind of gotten to the point where he's just so famous and such a big deal that it's like, okay, like it's fine. Kind of like you were talking about like LeBron on PSVG this week. You're like, this guy isn't getting his credit. You know, he's 39 and still crushing it.
Yeah, LeBron has a lot of haters, and for a lot of people, for good reason. They'll never ever even entertain the idea that somebody is better than Michael Jordan, and I get it.
Yeah.
And it really just comes down to how do you define your criteria.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nobody, and it's honestly to like sit on a fence and split the hair. It's kind of like Michael Jordan is like the greatest player, like the best player of all time, and LeBron is like the GOAT. You know, it's like two different things.
Yeah, interesting.
Michael has all of the criteria that like you look for when it comes to like an alpha superstar.
Yeah.
You know, he's a crunch time guy.
Yes.
He's an in the moment guy. His competitiveness, like his no will to lose. Like he has, you know, his tenacity of competition.
Yeah.
Is unrivaled. You know, more evident by his finals record. You know, man just will not lose. That being said, you definitely can't say that like the totality of the career is like LeBron James. You know, like every metric says that it's not. Like the metric LeBron is a more all-around player.
Mm-hmm.
He's played longer. He's been at a better, you know, he's like the all-time point leader. Like he's most finals appearances, most play. He went to the finals with 3 completely different franchises.
Donnie, this is too easy to shut down, though. Like appearances, but he doesn't make it. You know, he got to cross the finish line. You know what I'm saying?
What, 4 or 5 rings on his own? You know,
does he? I have no idea. I'm not arguing this.
The thing about rings is that rings are dependent on your environment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that goes into that. Salary cap, general managers, presidents. You know,
time and place, man.
Time and place. There's a lot. There's a lot of people have more rings than Michael.
I wonder
it'd be one thing if Michael had 12 rings and he had the most.
Yeah.
He didn't even have the most. So like, you know, you have to, I look at it more like, not just like impact on the game, like culturally, because Michael is also in like his own stratosphere.
I think that's really it.
Yeah.
Just star power.
Star power. Yeah. But it's more impact like on the actual game being played.
Yeah.
You know,
I wonder, is it even possible to be like at that star level? Because like, not that you're going to talk to me about hockey for any length of time, you know, but like there's people who are amazing hockey players, but it's still Wayne Gretzky. You know, there's guys who are creeping up on his scoring record, but it's like, I mean, that's a tricky one because
you'll never, and for a lot of people, that was their guy.
But I think Wayne Gretzky might have a record for having the most records.
There you go.
Like he probably it's just so meta at this point that the trophies start to pile up. But
that's the crazy thing with LeBron is he's got, you know, he's like the Cavs all-time assist leader. He's like the all-time rebounds guy. He's the all-time points guy. He's like second in the Heat. He's like third in the league. Like his statistical accumulation is incredible because of his longevity, which should be, people are like, that's because he never got hurt. That should be applauded.
As someone of the aging persuasion myself, same age as this guy's like, yeah, kudos to you, dude. Like,
look at the people that he was drafted next to. They were out. They've been out of the league for a decade.
Donnie, I just took the heating pad off my neck. Like I'm falling apart over here. Like so like shout out to him.
He's still out there doing it at still at a huge level. Not even like it'd be one thing if he was like 19-5-5, like he's good, but
yeah,
you know, not what you know. He's exactly doing what he was doing 15 years ago.
Did I hear that he has a kid playing in the league too? Like, does he have a
couple.
Kid playing in the NBA?
Not yet. They're in college, and he wants to. He has openly said that he wants to play basketball with his son in the league before he retires.
Insane. That's insane.
It is.
I love it.
People don't play basketball like that at almost 40. It just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not. There's no Tom Brady for this. Like it's kind of nuts that he's doing it.
Well, maybe he needed a like a Jerry Seinfeld moment. Just I'm out. Just like have a big moment and then get out. You know.
Yeah, I don't know when he's gonna leave. And for the record, anybody that just tuned in, I'm not necessarily saying that LeBron is better than Michael, because I mean I understandably do think Michael Jordan is like, that's the resume you'd want.
Yeah.
Right. But it is like a 1A 1B thing. You know, they're just different. Like they're both kind of equally great. They're just different.
Do you think it's like personality? Like, I feel like it's personality and image as like an attitude. I don't know. Like, I feel like that kind of counts to this as well. Like, people just seem to like be like Mike. People. Nobody's being like LeBron James. You know, it's not that isn't a thing.
Like for something, I think for Dev, like that matters a lot. You know, he loves that killer spirit. You know, that attitude.
Yeah, and the look.
Yeah. People do like that. I think that's a big part of it. But to me, it's just it is the consistency. He's the Terminator. He's Thanos. You know, like he just, wherever he goes, they have a chance. That's the crazy thing about him. On every team he's been on, they've had a shot.
Yeah.
And I've seen him on some terrible teams as a Cavs fan. Like he dragged a group of nobodies to the finals one year. Like just by himself, he got them there. They beat the Detroit Pistons, which had like their own little dynasty going on. Like it was kind of crazy. People can't even name guys off that team.
Damn.
People don't know who Daniel Marshall is. They don't know who Daniel Gibson is. They're like, who? And he got them there. And again, that's the rings part. You know, championships, you need a team. You need an organization. You need more than just you to win titles. So,
how's he doing this year? What's going on? Are they doing anything?
They're just out of here. Bounced out by the Nuggets. No fault in that.
Nuggets, the chicken McNuggets.
They're great.
They're out of here.
The Nuggets are awesome.
Is that Denver? The Denver Nuggets? Yeah. Man, NBA Jam taught me so much, dude. I wouldn't know any of this stuff. Actually, my brothers paid attention to NBA, and like it really was everywhere in the 90s.
Yeah.
Starter caps and jackets, like everybody had something. It was pretty. I mean, I guess it's bigger now. I'm in Canada. Like,
incredibly.
Yeah. Excuse me. Whoa, careful. Well, hopefully you're enjoying the play. I was up all night watching hockey playoffs last night, and then played Stardew Valley until 2:30 in the morning, and I literally lost track of time. Which part? Hockey. It's the same time as NBA. It's amazing how they line up.
Really?
NHL and NBA play. Yeah, we go until June. I say we, like it's Canada.
Of course. Yeah, that's your sport. Like we go till June.
Yeah. No, we NHL goes until I think like mid-June or something. Like they gotta. I feel like is it best of 5 or best of 7 for NBA playoffs?
7.
It is. Is it ever best of 5? Like, is it different in like round 1 or something?
Like when we were growing up,
the
early rounds were best of 5s, and then they changed them to 7.
Yeah.
Now we have play-in games.
What the hell is that?
So what they've done is they expanded the playoffs. So it used to be the top 8 teams made the playoffs, and now like the top 10 teams.
Everyone's in. Mm-hmm.
Because the 9 and the 10th team, they play each other in a one-off. This is one game to try and play your way into the tournament.
I love that. That's awesome.
That's why they did it.
How have I not heard of this? This is like, I mean, that's NFL style. I kind of like that as well.
And it's like, and if the 8 team loses, then they get like another chance to stay in, I guess. There's like a double play-in game because like they technically earned it.
It's so complicated. It's like
it is, but it isn't. I just don't really remember it. I just kind of watch, as it happens. But
sure.
Yeah, there's like this little like trio round robin at the bottom of the bracket.
Yeah.
And the way the NBA explains it is because there are a lot of teams tanking and stuff, so they wanted to give more teams like the opportunity to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And also like the difference between the 7th team and like the 12th team is usually like 4 games.
Right.
You're like, you never know who might be the best team.
I mean, I'm here for upsets, dude. Like I think that makes for some really interesting
that's another
stuff.
Reason. Yeah, that's another reason.
I think a lot of people are there. Where are you on that? Because I could also see the counterpoint to that. Like,
no, I think it was definitely
you got to earn
improvement. I think it was an improvement. There are less teams now tanking than there used to be. Tanking used to be a real problem. Once a team was kind of out of it, they would just like trade anybody they can and suck as much as they can.
Yeah, get draft pick,
and that hurts the overall. And they've also flattened the odds for the draft. So like the lottery is not nearly as weighted as high as it used to be.
Oh, okay.
So you could tank and suck and still get the 6th pick.
Yeah.
So like a lot of teams they just kind of stopped doing it.
That's an interesting thing, like, because you have to wonder if people are actually ever doing that. I don't know if there's ever been clarity where a team is like, yeah, obviously they they tried to lose.
In the NBA, their general managers have openly said it. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
We're going for the pick.
Sam Hinkie used to be the GM of the 76ers.
Yeah.
He was notorious where he tanked for like 4 years. He just kept telling the fans, like, he called it the process. There's like a whole hashtag about it. He was like, guys, it's a process. He's like, the best way for us to compete for championships is to suck for an extended period of time to accumulate as much high in town as we can, and then we'll build a team. And here's the funny thing. After I think the 4th season, he got fired because his team was like, they were like, I don't know, they were like 70 and 300 and something. Like, they were just terrible.
God.
But for the next decade, they have been in the mix for the title because of the players that the process.
Oh, really? It actually worked?
Yeah.
I mean, it should work. Like, that makes a lot of sense. But like, they're still competitive guys who are playing the
Ben
game.
Simmons and Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid's an MVP. Like, he kind of has been proven correct in the years to follow.
I mean, there's no doubt. You can get an off draft year here and there, but generally, like, that should be your ticket. Yep.
Otherwise, if you're not like if you're not a big market, you can't supplement, high end talent with the free agency, because nobody's going to sign in Detroit or Cleveland or Minnesota. Like, players don't want to go there.
Is it mostly like the cities and the markets that they're in, or is it?
Yeah, they want to be Miami and LA and Dallas. Those are the big cities.
And the salary cap makes it so that you can't necessarily make more money in LA or Miami versus Detroit.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
So it's just don't want to live in the city.
The NBA has like a soft salary cap. There is a cap, but you can go over it.
Yeah.
There are like certain rules in certain situations where you can go over it.
Yeah.
And agents exploit that to get,
of course,
star players to where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
For the NBA, a lot of it's just, a lot of it's nightlife.
Yeah.
It's just they want to be in cities where, beaches and hot women and clubs and stuff are.
Yeah. Classic.
That's where like Houston, LA, South Beach, those are, and like even places like Chicago, New York for the last 15 years, they have a hard time getting stars to come there.
Yeah. It's cold.
Because nobody wants to be there.
Well, until you get a draft pick with a star player and then you build the teams around them. So that's once a generation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Man. Well, do you have any teams left that you're watching in the NBA right now?
My Cavs are in it.
Oh, okay.
Still in.
Okay. Let's go.
And I'm I am a Cleveland fan, so I love everything Cleveland. But the Cavs are like kind of near and dear. I'm in a minority with Cleveland fans, where most Cleveland fans are Browns first all the time, every time.
Oh, okay.
The Browns are first on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, where I always, because I was a basketball fan, I was always Cavs first kind of kid. Like, I would much rather see the Cavs win another title than the Browns. So
really,
yeah. I just like them more. I'm more into basketball than I am football anymore. And the Browns are just, they're the Browns.
Browns, the name. They're called the Browns, dude.
Yeah.
So
and I love the Browns. I love them, but it is like apathy. I've just seen them be chaotic and terrible for so long.
I feel like it just fits. We could call them anything. We could have like this exciting name, whatever. And it's like, what color is that shirt? Brown? All right, that's what we're calling them. They're the Browns. That's what they are. I think like naming professional sports teams is fascinating. Like, because you're sort of, for the most part, you're born into a league that already exists with teams that already have their names, and you go like, yeah, Chicago Bulls. You don't really think twice about it. You don't think like so specifically about like the Bulls. But then new teams come around, and like the Grizzlies. Like, was that a cool name when you heard it for the first time?
No.
Yeah.
The Pelicans.
Totally the Pelican. Like, oh my God, the Pelicans. That is awful. And so in hockey, the Phoenix Coyotes or the Arizona Coyotes are moving. They're out of there. It turns out people don't want to watch hockey in Arizona. In the desert. Figure. So they're moving to Utah. And so they need a name in Utah. And they're letting people vote in on these things. And most of it is just weather. It's like the Utah Blizzard and the Utah Glaciers, I think, is one of them.
What?
And dude. And it's like, you could call them anything. and this is what we're working with here. And I just don't know if like all the good names are taken or if it's a nostalgia thing. I don't know what makes a great
That's
sports
interesting.
team name.
I mean, personally, like, so I kind of went through this. The Cleveland Indians changed their name,
Right.
and I, for one, love sports teams that like their mascot or their character reflect the city. I want
Yes.
a localized name.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want just another Bulldogs or another Lions or another Tiger. Like,
Yeah, Wizards. These
there's-
are all
there's
high
way
school
too many
sports
of them.
team names.
There's just a lot of them. You know, like
Yeah.
even college football or college athletics, there's like 200 sports teams that go by Bulldog or Tiger. Like they're
Right.
all, it's like half of them.
Yes.
You know, it's like it's just too generic.
Yeah.
You know, like be something.
You got to elevate.
Yeah, be something. I love the team name. Like my other team, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Perfect. You know, it's like a Buckeye tree. It's the state tree. Like, you know, it's local. You know
Oh.
exactly what you're expecting when you hear that name.
Yep.
Another one that I always think of is there is the University of Louisiana Monroe, and they are the Raging Cajuns. And I'm like, yes, now we're freaking talking. Like, this is a name I can get behind.
Rolls right off the tongue. I love that. Yeah.
So yeah, out of the Glacier and the Blizzard, that sounds terrible.
The closest one that I kind of liked was the Utah Yeti, which is
That's good.
I
can
kind
get
of like
behind
it, and it's like this weird alliteration that you don't expect because it's
It's
a
also
U and a
weird
Y.
that it's a singular. The
Yeti?
Yeti, not the Yetis or anything.
Yetis?
You know, it's like the singular.
Yeah, like when do you go back and forth? It's like the Seattle Kraken or the Chicago Bulls. Like it does go.
They're bringing the Supersonics back.
Hell yeah, Seattle
are.
Supersonics. Yes, dude.
The
I had a
NBA
hat.
has, once they finalize this TV deal that they have, they're going to welcome 2 new teams to the league, and I'm of the expectation that the Supersonics will be one of them, and then the other team will be in Vegas. Nobody knows what they're going to be called yet.
Dude, who was there? It was Sean. Was it Sean Kemp? Who was
Yeah.
Supersonics?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
man.
Ray Allen was Supersonics.
NBA Jam.
Like, yeah.
That's the only reason I know any of this stuff. Is playing countless hours of NBA Jam on my Game Boy. I didn't even have real NBA Jam. NBA Jam TE on the Game
Wow, I
Boy.
never, yeah. And how was that? How did that go?
I mean, it looked
How
like
was
a Game Boy game.
NBA Jam? I didn't even know that was a thing.
That's what I had, dude. Like everybody else is playing the real stuff, and I've got Game Boy version of
That's
Super
me.
Mario and
I know we've
Donkey
talked about it
Kong.
before, but that was me for 20 years. Somebody would bring me their Game Boy, and I'd be like, "Why are you doing this?"
It was way
Like-
cheaper.
Like, you might as well like whipped out an Atari on your TV or something. Like, why? Like, you realize games are much better than this.
This
now,
is
right?
what
Like,
we could afford. That's
you
it.
choose to Game Boy. Like, this is your thing.
Well, that's what I could afford.
No, I get it. I get it. It just, and I ate it like Pokemon until it took over the world, right?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I was never into portable gaming for a long time. Because of the divide, like the leap, the reach between what was going on in console and then what people were doing on handheld.
That's probably what ended up stopping me from playing. Like I was in it and then realized, oh wait, we can get better graphics on our computer because graphics were the thing we cared about back then.
Sure.
Like you would say, you know, the graphics are 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You know, those old IGN style reviews, presentation and
I play
audio.
NSO and like I boot up like the Game Boy Color thing.
Yeah.
And I remember the day that they dropped that and I booted up, I was like, I never played some of these games. Let me turn them on. I turned on Alone in the Dark and I was like, what? Are you serious?
Oh, don't base it on that game.
It's terrible.
don't
Like, this
don't-
is awful. I was playing, I was like, why is this even in NS? Why is this here? Like, who was like, this is the one we have to include? I was
People
like,
were
"Oh."
waiting for it. Yeah,
This
I
is
know.
awful.
How do those decisions get made? It's a wheel. It's definitely a spinning wheel that they go like.
You think that's it?
And yeah.
Like
all
about
right.
a dartboard?
Totally.
They just
yeah.
throw a dart at a wall.
I
and
kind
see
of
what-
hope it is. I kind of hope that is like part of the weird magic that happens at Nintendo. Some
Yeah,
sort
I
of
guarantee
random
it's not.
element of randomness. Yeah, I
There's
guarantee it
very
isn't,
like
too.
big corporate meetings where they sit around and think this stuff out.
But then they end up with like, well, that's not necessarily an example of a good decision, but they seem to have the process down. Speaking of the process, they
Yeah.
seem to be doing all right. Yeah.
This yard makes fun of the Roughnecks.
Oh, dude, the CFL. It's funny because I've been making fun of the CFL for years now, and this is probably the year that we'll go to the most games. The kids we went to one Edmonton Elks game last year, and they had a great time.
See, that's
and
a good name.
It's
The
cheap.
Elks.
Well, we changed it. It used to be the Eskimos, but we're not allowed to say that anymore. So they changed it to the Elks. So
Get it?
all the old people were very, very upset.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the Indians. People
Indians,
are super
yeah.
pissed about
I think that's
Indians.
what prompted it, was like Indians, Redskins, and they're like, Eskimos is offensive too, right? And they went to some communities up north, and they're like, no, we're okay with it.
There were people
We're
that tried to
changing it
change-
anyways.
There were people that tried to change the Irish at Notre Dame, and the Notre Dame folks were not having it. They're like, okay.
Can you imagine?
Same thing
Fighting
for the
Irish?
Seminoles. There were people that
Yeah.
were trying to change the Seminoles for a while in Florida State.
What's wrong
Florida
with the
State,
Seminole?
like-
What, I don't know what that is. What is that?
It's an Indian, like a Native American.
Oh,
Like the
really?
Redskins, like a Seminole. It's a tribe, the Seminole tribe.
But that's sort of like more like the Blackhawks. Like the Redskins
So, like-
is like, I kind of get it.
Well, sure, yeah. But with but what Florida State did is they went to the local tribe, like the remaining history, and they just paid them a bunch of money. They just like licensed it. They were
Of
like,
course they did.
they're like, we want your approval, and
Yeah.
they're there. And I mean, it's not like a backhand thing. Like they actually have like a, he's like a chief, like a takes part. You've probably
Of
seen him
course,
in like
yeah.
advertising commercials. He rides the horse out and throws the damn arrow stake and stuff. Like
Yeah.
they've made it a part of it. So they're like, we're not ripping it off. We're honoring it.
I mean, it's just kind of
like-
funny. It's like, we'll make a deal. Well,
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
That's the thing that when people argue about it, they were like, well, Florida State's got the approval. And it's like, yeah, but how did they get the approval?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like they just slid a nice check across the table.
Exactly.
They're like, hey, can we
Like, wait, we've been here
can we
before.
get your blessing to keep doing this, please? Because we
Yeah.
don't want to change our entire brand.
Yeah. Well, now it's been a couple of years. I think people are kind of over. They are just now the Elks. I think that's
Yeah.
fine, and that's kind of local as well. Like
I'm
some
still
sort of
really bad with the
venison.
Guardians. Like I still just call them the Indians.
Is that Washington?
No, that's what the Indians changed their name to the.
Oh, the
Guardians.
Indians. Oh, yeah. Oh, and it's sort of like Gardy and like the Ians.
It's very like.
Is that
it's
the
as-
reason?
It's as same as it could be. Like
Yeah.
the font is kind of the same.
Yeah.
The colors are the same. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of
Now,
hard.
now
not
movies
to
like
mix
Major
them
League
up.
don't make any sense. You can't watch
Of
Major
course.
League. Like, who the hell is this fake
Yeah.
team? It's like the Miami Sharks from Any Given Sunday. That seems fake. Like what? I love that
Washington
movie.
Sentinels.
Sentinels, man.
Got old Shane Falco running out there.
Yeah. Holy. Max, you're not on the podcast. Get out of here. Don't look at me like that. Yeah. Beat it. Cat. God. You and I have very different relationships with our cats, I think.
Oh,
Max is
Still
so
waking up.
loud. He hears me talking over here. He's like, feed me. I'm like, I've never fed you once. I don't feed that cat.
that's how cats are.
Yeah. Well, beat it. You know?
Hmm.
Did I hear you were jumping on? Oh, no. Maybe this was Ryan. Ryan was jumping on horror movies. I got to get going on my horror
I've been
movie
watching a
collection.
bunch.
Oh, maybe it was you.
Yeah, I've watched a bunch already this year. I'm way ahead of schedule.
Oh, I love it. We're normally into August territory by now, but we're already in May. We're doing the thing.
Oh no,
Heck
that's
yeah.
I've probably put down 15 or 20 of them already.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and it was very weird because last year I went through this really long drought where I didn't want to watch any of them,
Yeah.
and then I started to get back into it because I just started watching a bunch of really old ones.
Nice.
And then this year is like the complete opposite. I haven't watched
Mhm.
any of like my backlog because there are so many new ones that I want to see. And I've gone to the movie theater. I've been in the movie theater like 4 or 5 times already.
I love going to
because-
theater.
And I think the difference is just I'm way more interested in the horror movies of this year than last year. And I think it's just
Yeah.
a much better year for the horror genre. So I watched like all of the Chucky episodes too. Like that's another big thing. I caught all the way
Mhm.
up and watched all of that.
What is that
And,
playing
yeah.
on?
It's everywhere.
Is it?
I mean, I don't know what the translation is to Canada, but
Yeah.
it's on Sci-Fi produces it.
Yeah.
And then it's like here it's licensed. You can watch it on Shudder, you can watch it on Peacock, you can watch it on a bunch of different it's like on a bunch of services.
Okay.
Like you
don't have
can watch
Peacock.
I think you can watch it on YouTube. Like Chucky is everywhere. You can
Oh,
play you
dang.
can watch I'm pretty sure you can watch Chucky for like you could probably just watch it for free.
And is it still the same dude voicing Chucky now? That like
It is.
that's
Yeah,
incredible.
Brad Dourif is
Hell
still
yeah.
he just retired from acting. But he said that he'll continue to lend the voice to Chucky
That's pretty cool.
as long as he can. But that's the only thing he's doing anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2024 is a great year for horror movies, man. Like I've got, let's see here. Let me quickly give you. This
He's
is
got
like
the
my
list right
watch
on his
list.
phone. Mm-hmm.
My watch list is over 50 for the year.
that you have watched, not a
that I
to-do
want to
list.
watch. No, that I want to watch this year.
Okay.
And of the ones I've watched, 15 of those.
Pretty dang good, man.
Yeah.
I love that. How are you trying? Like, is that like an app that you got, or is it just like a spreadsheet?
I should do Letterboxd or something. I just have a spreadsheet.
I don't know. I've tried the Letterboxd thing too, and I want to be more. Maybe I'm just not as active in movies as I want to be or should be, but I never find myself going to Letterboxd ever. Yeah, I don't know why that is.
I tried and I just never would use it, so I just keep the sheet on. And the sheet's very convenient. It's on my phone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's color coded.
I've got to update my. I've got my.
The Strangers come out next week.
Is that like a remake?
It is. They're remaking the whole trilogy, and I think the trilogy will be out by the end of the year. Like a year from next week.
I rewatched that last year. I know that you love that.
I do.
Liv Tyler one.
I love all of them. Really, I love this. Yeah. It's more so that I love the franchise.
Yeah.
You know, I just love the angle. I love the characters. I love the villains.
They all have that mask that
yeah. I love Pinup Girl.
Yeah,
I love it. They're great.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know why that kind of just bounced off me.
The third one is like the Pray at Night is like the dumbest one because it's full of it's very tropey. Yeah. There's lots of people tripping and falling and crawling around everywhere. Yeah. But it's also like one of the most beautiful horror movies I think has ever been shot. Like I guess the cinematography and audio files and stuff. Like the shots are incredible and the music is stellar. It's like very 80s. There's like this whole pool scene with like neon lights and stuff that's just like visually very vibrant.
Nice.
So I like that one a lot. But the one the one that you rewatched, the first one, that was like the one. When I watched that for the first time, I was like, holy, like this is incredible. We'll see how the remakes do. I'm not too. I'll be there. I'm gonna go see them in theaters, but I'm not expecting it to be the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. I'm glad, man. That all sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta watch. Oh, I've been meaning to. I mean, this is definitely something you go just go Google.com and find out. Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Is there an Evil Dead and Evil Dead Rises? Is Rises a sequel to the remake?
They're all loosely connected, like by the lore, but it's not like a direct sequel.
Okay, but it came after. Like there is
Evil Dead Rises, the newest one.
Okay,
it's excellent. It's very good.
It shows you my.
It's full of blood.
Great. I gotta. Well, do I need to watch the first Evil Dead Rises?
No.
Or Evil Dead?
You don't have to. No.
I can just watch it on its own.
You should. Because the Evil Dead franchise is also one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, I know that about you, and that's why I'm excited to jump into this. I got Evil Dead Rises on sale from Amazon a while back, and I just bought it. And I didn't even know, obviously. Like, is this the first one? Is this the remake? I don't know where it is. Sure. But it was like a 4K Blu-ray for $12 or whatever it was. I was like, hell yeah! Like I'm in on that.
It's got a great opening.
Yeah,
it's a great opening scene. Oh yeah,
it's the best. I wish Chelsea was more into horror movies. We could do that together. Mm-hmm. She likes.
But Evil Dead. Evil Dead is probably the best franchise at staying current.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the remakes are probably. I mean, so the Evil Dead was remade in 2013 by Fede Alvarez.
Has it already been
making the new
that
Alien?
Long?
And that's like my favorite. Like I love it. It's so crazy that like you'd ever think to remake the original Evil Dead.
Right.
Like, oh, it'll never be good. And I thought his was better. Like I'm one of them. I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Yeah.
So you've got the original, you've got the remake, both incredible. And you've got Evil Dead 2, just comedy and schlocky. And then you've got Army of the Dead.
Army of Darkness. Yeah.
Way off base.
Yeah. That's the first one I ever saw.
Remake.
It was hard to go. I saw Army of Darkness first, and then realized I learned like the whole the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, like it all had this history and stuff, and didn't realize that in the Army of Darkness it's showing you like flashbacks from like the first couple of movies, like oh this is what's happening. I'm like I thought it was just like setting the stage for what was happening in this movie. I didn't realize it was referencing other movies, and it was personally for me it was hard to go back to Evil Dead after seeing what Army of Darkness was because I watched that because it was hilarious.
Yeah,
it's totally different. Yeah, I love that movie though.
You should watch 2. Evil Dead 2 is probably you should have went back in order.
Yeah, just one by one. Maybe I still because I don't think I have seen Evil Dead 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll like it.
Yeah,
you'll like it.
There's a hockey player. His last name was something like Verata or something like that, which I couldn't watch this team because it's one of the words in Army of Darkness for that he has to say.
Oh.
He's like Klaatu Verata, and he messes it up. I'm like, I can't even watch a hockey game without. This is how my brain works. It's just connected to Army of Darkness.
I know we did our Halloween show last year together. It was really fun to do.
Yes.
And you said you haven't really watched any this year yet.
No, I don't think so. I've been tracking what I've been watching. What have I watched?
That should be your your homework there. You should just watch all the Evil Dead movies.
I'm down. I'm down for that. Okay, it's going on the whiteboard.
Those are really good movies. It's like my favorite thing about the franchises. For all the other franchises, Friday, Nightmare, like all of their remakes and their modern ones, they're all kind of mid or suck.
Yeah.
They have a really hard time like Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
The Evil Dead is just like really threaded this needle extremely well, where I honestly just think doesn't matter which movie is your favorite, like they're all kind of good.
Yeah.
Like they're all just really good. Like they're just pick one. You'll enjoy it.
Well, I gotta add these things
Stingray
to my wish
Friday.
list.
We do need a new Friday, and I think I might have one for you. If you haven't seen a movie, a trailer for a movie called In a Violent Nature, it comes out in a couple of weeks. It kind of looks like the Friday the 13th that we've been waiting on. So maybe give that a look. I'm very excited about that one.
Oh, dude, we need to talk about E3. Hang on. I'm going to put it over here. I don't want to go there just yet.
I got time today, we're 30 minutes into this.
I got time.
We've yet to talk about why the people wanted us to talk.
No, pin it. I don't know about you. I've got time.
Make them wait.
Sleep in. Yeah, make them wait. We buckle up, everybody. If people are listening to the podcast, you see where this has gone. We don't know yet. I always think about that, and I think that's a weird thing. When people fire up a podcast, they can see how long it is, but the people recording it have no clue.
That's true.
You know, because we don't. And you don't do this on PlayStation, PSVG, really. Like you have like kind of a cap, but if conversation's flowing, like you're in for a 3+ hour weekly
How crazy
show.
Is that we used to do like a 2-hour show that we thought was way too long.
Yeah,
we broke it off into separate shows to make it smaller. We've recondensed, and the show's longer than it's ever been before.
I was thinking that this morning. Actually, the Xbox Drive went 2.5 almost, and it probably would have gone for 3 hours if. I mean, there's 4 of us, and we can all talk. Like Fiona alone could do 3 hours on her own. Just
wow.
I mean, all of us were, and Mitch streams for 10 hours a day. Like it's incredible. But yeah, like I was thinking about it the other day, like one of the reasons that Luke and we ended up having to kind of like split ways is like we really disagreed on how long the Xbox Drive should be. Like he really wanted to go in deep. And at the time, especially, I didn't have the time for it. Ellie was not even a year old. I had Lincoln, who was not even 2 years old. And that was when I was recording the show on the way home. So I had to be I was leaving work at a very specific time. My life was like very regimented. I was at work at a very specific time. I had to leave. I had to record. I had to be in the house. And that kind of wedged us apart for sure. And then last night I recorded a 2.5 hour episode of the Xbox Drive on a Friday night. So, things change slowly but surely. But okay. Evil Dead 2013.
We've been doing this since 2014.
I started in 2015. December of 2015 was We the Gamercast. Was me anyways.
Year.
Yeah, and it was December for me. I was late. I feel like PSVG was. I feel like you guys were already happening.
We started. The reason that I always get it confused is we started PSVG, like the blog and everything, I think in 2014, but like we started right before the year clicked over. We started like October, November.
Yeah.
So I think we started in 2014, and I think the first like official podcast started rolling out like right after January.
And it was PSVG, the podcast, or was it? And Shaq came way later. It came because it was sort of like a subpart.
So we did at the time when we started, we had PSVG.
Yeah.
Like we had Play Some Video Games, the PSVG podcast is what we called it. But we had themed shows.
Yeah.
That's where it all came from. So like,
I see what you're saying.
But then when we had one that was very specific to Nintendo, then we recorded the Nintendo show, and we had like the Xbox show, but it was all a part of the same show.
Yeah.
We just like mixed hosts and had like very thematic shows.
I love it.
And then we started making Like, I think all that came from Nathan. Nathan started calling our Xbox themed shows the Empire.
No, he didn't.
The
He called it
PlayStation
something else.
Did he?
The state of the Xbox Empire. It was so long.
Yeah. And then we made fun of the PlayStation Island folks at the time.
Yeah.
Right. And then we were always like, well, if they're an empire and they're an island, like, what is Kevin, Donnie, and Jason? What are we doing? So we just like, well, this has got to be like the shack, because like at the Wii U at the time, right? That's how.
Oh, tell me about it.
Significant it felt. We were like, well, we've got to be like just a shack out here on the side. Like, no, nobody's paying attention to us.
I've been thinking about that so much. Like, honestly, thinking about podcasting about Nintendo through the Wii U era is the only thing kind of getting me through podcasting about Xbox. Right now, it's like, I know we can do this. We've done hard things before. We've been there. Like, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Like, we're just in for some rough seas right now. But I'm telling you, I'm not just joking around. I'm not making it up. I've definitely been thinking about podcasting about Xbox right now. It's like, okay, we can do hard things. We've got this in our cookie jar. We've done it. It's like, golly, yeah. Dude, like, Nintendo wasn't gonna make another like console. That was it. They were gonna go third party, or mobile. Oh, dude, they were gonna go mobile. Oh, thank God. Yeah, times have changed a little bit.
Times have changed, and so that's and it is crazy how like you're exactly right, because I used to be like, we've got to cut the show down. It's too long, and I don't even know when we decided like it wasn't. You know what? When we switched Empire around and we started doing plays in video games.
Yes.
We would have shows that would go longer than normal. And I would be like, guys, we got to cut it off. Like, nobody wants this. And we had listeners that were like, keep going.
I was definitely one of them. Definitely.
Like, don't stop. Keep going. And that's what it was. We were like, oh, okay, I guess. I guess we'll keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And
it is one of those, like, because I don't know. I mean, you have to make it work for your schedule. That's first and foremost. You got to be able to do the dang thing. But outside of that, I was definitely there trying to figure out what is the right time. You know, like one of the reasons the Xbox Drive was as short as it was, of course, there was the commute, but also I just thought it was really interesting to be like that different from all the other 1 hour shows. It's interesting to show up as a 40-minute show. I thought that was good. But yeah, we've moved on completely from that. And all we hear all the time is the longer shows are appreciated. I've yet to hear anybody go like, maybe tighten it up.
It's too long.
Like if anything, you get like a flippant comment going like, all right, get to the plot. You know, like I've tuned into a Nintendo show, like start talking about Nintendo right away. It's like,
we get a lot of that too.
We make no promises about that.
We get a lot of that too.
Yeah, we're a Nintendo show by name. We're an Xbox show by name.
PC games and tablet he's playing. Why is he talk about Nintendo?
I think we were 90 minutes into our Xbox show before we got into what happened with Xbox this week.
Wow.
It was awesome.
That's about on the same time we were.
Yeah, I mean, you could be talking. I mean, yeah, it's probably the biggest news if you're on a general video game podcast. That's about as big as it gets. But it's been a week, man. Holy crap! But I don't even want to get there yet. I don't even know why I'm dancing around. I don't even want to go there. But people were reaching out to you about this. Like we gotta sit down.
I had several people are like, when are we doing Sweet Hangs? Like,
it's like an unofficial Xbox Empire.
Do you have? Yeah, I think that's it. And there were all the Empire folks. They're like, when are you doing this? What does Sean say? Do you have plans yet?
I feel like, and I don't know how to say this without like probably offending somebody. I was not looking forward to recording the Xbox Drive because of all the news. And I don't know exactly what this is. Like, I just don't, I think in my heart, I know what I want to say and it's not nice. I think maybe that's it.
Sure.
You know, I'm like just pissed at Matt Booty. Like, I'm just like, what is this guy doing? But I'm like, I don't like saying that because, like, what do I know? I'm just an idiot in Canada with a shirt.
You're overthinking it. Say what you feel. If you got hate in your heart, let it out.
But here, and this is like the part that probably will offend somebody, is like, I feel like maybe it's just because you and I have done this for so long together, oddly enough. Like, I'm good doing it here. I don't know what it is.
Well, I think it's like less listened to show, right? I think it's probably more of like our hardcore enthusiasts. I don't think we have a lot of folks listen to it.
Maybe.
I don't know what it's doing on Patreon, but at least I
have no clue. I don't even know if can you look
and stuff. It's not like super. So like maybe it's more, it's like maybe it's safer.
I think maybe it's the one-on-one, part.
Could be the one-on-one.
Because I think with 4 people, the conversation can very quickly kind of just like go off into a completely different direction. It's like, whoa, I wasn't
you can really
quite done my point.
Here.
Totally. Yeah. And so you can kind of say like, I remember thinking about it even last night as we were chatting about it.
Oh, wow.
What's that? Say it all
Yarden
here.
says, say it all here. I think you held back a bit last night.
See, that's actually kind of what I'm getting at is you can say a thing and then, somebody else can jump in and they'll make a point that connects to it, but takes you somewhere else. And you never really can get back to it. It's like without being, it sounds worse in that way. Like, hang on a second. I know you're taking us over there, but let me come back to Matt Booty and really just talk to you about how this guy is messing this up. So it's a little bit different. And also, I mean, I don't know. I want to say a complimentary thing to you without slamming other people.
Look over the show. I was like, are you guys done? Because I've got a lot I want to say.
Well, and there's a balance there, I think, with Dev is good with that. Like, he's just like, whatever you want to say, like, I'll be here. And there's no ill will or anything. He's just like, I'll let Donnie do his thing, and he's just chill about it.
Back around.
Yeah. But I think your breakdown of news and gaming just in general, like you're in a sphere of your own. You're in a level of your own. Like, there's very few people. Like, I think that 1,000%,
man.
Well, thank God you are. And you're not just reading the headlines. You're also reading the whole article for one. Like, you really do come educated. And I feel like you come with your own thoughts. And I really appreciate that about you. As time goes on and more of these podcasts pop up and more things kind of pop up, I'm like, man, everybody's just saying the same thing. And I think where I was heaviest on the show last night was just like screaming for like some original thought. Please, can we talk about how somehow Game Pass can be so huge that it's killing sales and not big enough to matter somehow? Like, I don't understand this narrative, and then people they just don't think, and that's why I like talking to you about it, because you cause me to think, and that's all I want. I'm not. Sometimes I'll say something like emphatically, but I'm just like trying to dive into it, not even like fully exploring the thought, but I can bounce that off of you, and that's a rare thing, for me, anyways. And you're good at just doing that on your own. Like, you don't even like Dev isn't bouncing like questions and thoughts back to you about.
Sometimes he does, but a lot of times, I mean, I try to understand what's happening and have a take on it, even if it's not my own take.
Yeah.
Like, just what is this causing people to think about?
Yeah.
This is causing people to think about the viability of Game Pass. Okay, what does that mean?
Exactly.
I just try to do that.
Yeah. Well, and I always appreciate that about you. Bowser said something last night that I thought I thought this was great. If Tango wasn't mixed up in this whole thing, would it have been as big a deal? And I don't think it would have been. I thought that was a great observation.
I definitely don't think so.
But it is. So it is a big deal. Like, Tango's gone, and it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. And I think, like, I really want to be excited for the showcase next month. I've been all, E3 is back, and Ubisoft is doing its thing, and Xbox is going to show up, and we're going to have Hellblade behind us. Like, we're here, and it's like there's this taint. I don't like the taint, Donnie. The taint is on everything.
I feel a lot better now because I've got a lot of my emotion out.
Sure.
Like, I've done my thing, so I'm probably a bit more clear-headed this morning.
Yeah.
And a couple days later, but let's get into it. We're talking around it. Xbox shuttered a bunch of studios. If you didn't catch the news on any of our other podcasts, or just in general, and the world is reacting to what that means. And in particular, I think Tango. It's funny. I did catch a YouTube clip where they were like, "I can't believe they did this to Arcane Austin." So they were treating Tango like we were treating Arcane, but for me, and I think for many, Tango's
the one
egregious.
Yeah.
And then I know for us, for you and I, Tango is the one.
Yeah.
We love The Evil Within. And I didn't like Hi-Fi Rush as much as most.
Yeah, me neither. I can't claim. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. I loved Ghostwire Tokyo. Yeah, I really did. Ghostwire Tokyo is different on when you can turn all the effects on Like with ray tracing and everything, it's a great technical showpiece.
Love it.
Also, the story really ratchets it up in like the last couple hours. Whereas the
now I should play it.
Like the first 5 hours, kind of routine and samey.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. It's just not all super compelling either. But then you get to like what I think is like the meat of the story. It's not a long game. I don't know how long it is. Let's say it's 8 or 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like the best part of the game is like the final act. That's when it's like, damn, now okay, this is good. Like I love the ending.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, I'm ready for another one. Like you get to the ending and like I'm ready for another one, and we'll never get one now. We'll never get another with Evil Within. We'll never get another Hi-Fi Rush. We'll never get another Ghostwire. And
I mean, part of that was just Shinji Mikami not being there. I think for Evil Within, I think that was as soon as he left, like that, the writing was on the wall there.
Like you can make a survival horror game, and you've got a lore and things to pick up there. Like he is the head. You know, he's the namesake. So I get that. You know, a lot of people are like, well, you know, Shinji left, but like my biggest thing with Tango is that I feel like a couple of things. One, compared to the amount of money that they've wasted at the initiative, the amount of money that goes into Call of Duty, of course, the amount of money that they've seemingly put into 343 and Infinite with contractors, Tango feels like a rounding error.
Totally.
Like it's not super big. Like when they had like their pictures at the studio and stuff, it's like 30 or 40 people in the picture. I'm sure maybe there's more,
maybe 100
work, but like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
For Microsoft Gaming.
Yeah.
You know, for Bethesda, sure, but not for Microsoft Gaming.
Yeah.
So that is the first one that really hurts. And then the Shinji thing, it's like, okay, there should be, I think there is a value for access to the Japanese development market.
There's no doubt. Yeah.
Like even at a loss, there's a value there for being there. Like just be there. You never know what might take off. You never, like, we're on the cusp of so many things. Like we're on the cusp of AI, we're on the cusp of Grand Theft Auto. A couple years ago, launch new hardware. Like Xbox, seemingly, reportedly, rumored, wants to launch a handheld.
Yeah.
Guess where a region where a handheld might be very like attractive?
Yeah.
Maybe in Japan where they play handhelds.
Yeah.
Like, what if you had, and at this point, all we can do is what if there was an exclusive or a Game Pass Evil Within game or a Hi-Fi Rush 2 that was a beloved game that released on a handheld? Could you make new ground in Japan that you couldn't before?
Yeah.
Is that possible? Like, is there any demand there? We'll never know because they shuttered the studio. Like, and why not? And that's like, why not divest the studio? Why not make it smaller? Do indie games? Get them.
That's what I
work.
never understand about any of this stuff. It's like all or nothing.
Can you, like what you've done with the initiative is you've paired them to Crystal. Can you not pair Tango to like Bandai? Like, can you not get a support team and make the ongoing costs smaller, but still have them working on things? Like,
what was the quote? Somebody, it might have been a Matt Booty thing talking about how leadership is spread a little too thin, like peanut butter, I think he said. So there's kind of referencing there's too much to handle here. So, which I think does lend a little bit of credence and understanding to closing these studios, because it's not just a money thing. It's just like, how can a select few people manage this many projects and this many teams? I guess I could understand that, but at the same time, like, hire one or two more people, you know, like build out the team. Like, I feel like those are excuses that haven't really been fully thought out.
The only thing that I really think I believe here is I believe that they want to hire up more people to work on Fallout. They want another. I think they want another team of Bethesda Game Studios. I think.
But wouldn't that have been a great message at the very, like, they did take that opportunity. I think, was it Roundhouse who's going to be rolled up into working on Elder Scrolls Online?
Yeah, they're just going to be in ZeniMax.
And I mean, like, maybe they're not in a position to be able to say we're working on Fallout like 5 or anything else. And maybe it's just not, the timing isn't right.
But they don't want to promise again.
Yeah.
But like that has been a trend since the TV show came out, and they keep saying that they want to. The Matt Booty's thing was, we want to reallocate resources to our primary brands.
Yeah.
And I even hate hearing that.
I know, because like that didn't really work before.
When did Tango not become primary for you guys?
Well, that just repeats Gears, Halo, Forza again. So now you just added
We had somebody
Fallout and Call of Duty.
We had somebody in the Discord, and they were like, "Hey, can you guys really blame them? They want to focus on." And I was like, "And that's how we got to all of Activision just working on Call of Duty. Like, I mistakenly gave them too much hope."
Oh yeah,
like when they bought
same.
Activision, we were talking about, can we bring Tony Hawk back? Can we need another Guitar Hero?
Mm-hmm.
Like can Call of Duty have off years and in between years? Like, can they not be? No, they're just gonna do. Like, surprisingly, they didn't just take Tango and make them work on Call of Duty, I guess.
Yeah,
because it seems like that's their marching path forward.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they're just going, like you said, they're going to do Call of Duty and Fallout and Elder Scrolls, and they're just going to double down. And like, I understand that there is a time where like the check comes due, and maybe you just can't have a blank check forever.
Yeah.
But like, if you wanted to dedicate, like, why not announce that you're building a Fallout studio? Like, even if it was a team, just give it a name.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Coalition, or like you did it with you did it exactly with the Initiative.
Yeah.
They haven't done shit. They've done nothing. All you've done is trot out a couple interviews and a logo, and you're like, we're building a studio.
I think that's the part that actually infuriates me probably the most out of all this is Tango goes, Initiative stays.
Yeah, the compulsion's still here.
Well, that's the worry. I think that's like there's so many ripples.
That's my worry.
This.
That's
like, what
exactly
are the implications?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's exactly where I went. That was my immediate. I'm not sure if I'm on Threads now.
Yeah.
So like when this news dropped, that was my immediate response to the news was, oh my god, what about Ninja Theory?
Watch out, Double Fine. Oh, dude, Ninja Theory. Oh my god, I can't.
It sounds exactly like that's what's about to happen. Like at this point, I don't have a whole lot of faith that they're not going to close Ninja Theory. Because think about it. Look what they've done to the game. It's a short game. They've made it seem like a smaller experience. It's a budget release. It's digital only.
Yeah.
There's been all kinds of, talk and speculation about how lack of marketing, how lack of push they have. Yeah. They didn't even make a controller for it. There's not a wrap for it. Like there's nothing going on with it.
Yeah.
What evidence do we have at all right now that this is something that they want to continue to do?
Yeah. It's like even Mario Maker 2 had a special Wii U like package.
Yes,
with an amiibo in it and everything. Like they've
done nothing for this game, and barring it being like Game of the Year, which maybe it is, we're 10 days away. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah,
but even here's the thing, that was Hi-Fi Rush, and they still closed it.
Yeah,
so like even if it is, they very well could be like, look, these small single player experiences aren't driving what we need to see, and they could close Ninja Theory. And for me, Sean, if they close Ninja Theory, that'll probably be it for me.
I think I'm kind of with you, Donnie, and I don't like to like kind of
Ninja Theory is a road too far. It's a bit too far. Like, and it's to me, it's like you have to sell them.
Yeah,
you can't close.
Oh, there's no. Well, I guess because would they?
They will.
I think they will.
Toys for Bob. But it's like, for the love of God, please just let them go. Do not close them and all that they've given us for so long.
This is EA territory. Like EA closes all these studios.
That's exactly what it feels like. And that's why people have been saying that, Activision bought Xbox, because now they're just behaving like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of their actions is just that, big game corpo, big franchise focus. And the thing, that's why the news is particularly, I think, emotional. That's why the reaction to it is so high and strong, is because this goes against the vision that we were sold for years.
Yeah.
Like the reason we kept waiting, the reason we kept around, the reason we kept subscribing was this business model.
We're building to something we've never seen before, and now it's as predictable as it's ever been.
We're going to curate and incubate these creative games that you can't get anywhere else. We're going to bring these teams in. We're going to empower them with funding to make the things that they want to make. In addition to the big AAA games that we have with Forza, Gears, and Halo, Call of Duty and Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Like, I thought that...
How do you mess this up? You just listed some of the biggest franchises, some of the biggest properties.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just, hang on to it, man.
For me, I don't understand how a Hellblade or a Psychonauts or a Hi-Fi can't sit there.
Totally. Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we need to focus on your primary games. It's like, yeah, you do. You don't need to close Tango to do it. What you need is to get your primary games out the fucking door in a playable state.
That's my point.
You don't
That's
need
entirely where I'm at.
Starfield to finally get it together 3 years later. You know, like Starfield should be Starfield the day it comes out.
Yep.
That's, you know, like this is long standing for us because we've been talking about this. It's so funny that we're here on this podcast picking up right where we left off in the last podcast, which probably picked on the podcast before it.
Yeah.
Because this is
and these are months apart each.
Empire. Yeah, they're months apart. And it's like it's gotten worse like every time.
Yeah.
But again, go back to our, you know, famous GIF, like just make good video games.
I know.
Like if
please.
And since I like went off on my tangent, the thing that I've hated most is seeing people like grandstand or like take a victory lap condemning Game Pass. Game Pass is not the problem.
Agreed.
Pass, like I firmly believe that Game Pass works.
Yeah.
People are like, it's unsustainable. Here's the thing. They're at like, we expect them to be roughly around like 35 million users.
Yeah.
At 50 million users at $20 a month, that's $1 billion a month. You mean to tell me you can't make video games?
Is it really
$1 billion a month? Yeah, I think. Is it not?
I don't know.
At 50 million people at 20 bucks a month. If they raise the price and get to 50, they had 15 million more people. Like, does that sound unattainable? That sounds
just totally... like $750 million. $15 a month. Yeah, it's $750 million a month.
So if they raise the price and get to 50, if they go to 20 bucks a month and they get to 50 million subscribers,
yeah,
it's $1 billion a month. It's $12 billion a year in just subscription revenue. You mean to tell me we can't develop AAA games with $12 billion a year coming in?
It is exactly a billion. Yeah.
I really do not. I can't take that as an honest. Like that's not.
I completely agree with you.
Bad faith argument. Do you think
this is what I'm saying? Nobody has done. Even me. Like I'm condemning others. I haven't even done that math. Like,
the reason that it doesn't work is because Halo Infinite wasn't Halo 3. The reason it doesn't work is because Starfield wasn't Skyrim.
That's what I'm saying.
They haven't hit the games to drive growth. And that's been my thing since Phil Spencer sat on that fucking couch and talked about, I hate it. It sounded so defeated when he was like, we've gotten everybody that wants Game Pass on console. No, you haven't. You have not.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you haven't made games that people can't not play. You haven't made the essential game, the game that you haven't led the industry with a game that there's been no event like you have to play this.
Yeah.
Where's Helldivers?
Yeah. I mean, Palworld is kind of there, but it's not theirs. Yeah.
And it's not even there. And it's on, and most of the people playing it are playing on Steam.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you bought these big brands and it ties into the conversation we had last month, which was on my mind Wednesday night when I was recording. It's like last month we talked about it and I asked you, I was like, can they do it? Like, are they capable of making this game? Because by all accounts, the last 10 years, they have not been able to develop the game nor buy the game. They've done neither. They've tried both. They've tried to buy the games outright. We'll just buy them. And for whatever reason, whoever's to blame, Fat Booty, Phil, it doesn't matter. For whatever reason, at the end of the day, they have yet to ring the bell.
Yeah.
And the problem is, with every time they miss, it adds more pressure to the next one.
Totally.
And the next one. And that's where Dev and I were on the show when we were talking this through. They're not a game away. They're 10 games away.
Oh, yeah.
They need multiple
trending.
years of, you can't not have it. Boom, boom. That's how subscription services work. You got to have it. It's too good to not have. You just leave it alone. You don't turn it off because you know you're going to miss out on something.
Well, because there's no model on how to be making good decisions because you haven't made one yet to learn from and go like, all right, that's how we do it. And I feel like that's where Nintendo is now. And I honestly, to a certain degree, like that's where PlayStation has been as well. Like they nailed it with Helldivers. They nail it continuously with the games they hitch a ride to. And whether it's bad luck or just whatever the secret sauce is, Xbox partners up with like Cyberpunk, you know, if they're not going to buy a game, and it's like Cyberpunk turns out to be Cyberpunk, and PlayStation hooks up.
After your entire run with it and everything, then it gets good.
Totally. Once you've used up all your connection to it, all the marketing dollars are spent up. Nobody's thinking Xbox tied to Cyberpunk, and then it's good, and you're just nowhere. Like that's just shitty luck. I think like that sucks.
But it's like they more often than not, they bet on the wrong horse.
Mm-hmm. And so Sony can survive. Like, I feel like Sony was tied. Like, they partnered up with Suicide Squad, and like somehow that didn't really hurt PlayStation. I'm not suggesting that it should, but like it just kind of came and went. It wasn't really a big deal. Yeah, exactly. That's why they can survive a hit like that, and that's exactly your point. Any next game bears the weight of the world
of all failed ones that came before it. You know, like Hellblade has to be amazing to make up for Redfall and Infinite and how people felt about. I don't want to say Starfield wasn't a miss, but it also wasn't. It wasn't what people wanted it to be. Like, you know, it was just kind of somewhere in between.
Yeah,
you know, and people want that big experience, that landmark experience. Not even be big's not the right word, but like that landmark, that essential experience. They want,
you need that moment, and that's a really interesting point.
Game, they want to play the game that everybody's talking about, you know, that everybody's in awe of. They want to play that, whether big or small. They just want to play it.
Well, you know? They have Minecraft. Everybody's talking about that. They have Sea of Thieves, which is a huge thing. Everybody's talking about that, but somehow those aren't translating. And I've been wondering about that for a long time. I think you just nailed it. Like, I think it's about the moment. Like, Halo can eventually become huge, and Fallout recently is like with 76, everybody's playing it. But there's still like the people who are talking about video games, people are podcasting and pundits and media people, like they don't continue with games. They're not part of the conversation. They're not playing the games as they redeem themselves. They've made up their minds on what Halo Infinite is, and like as a representation to Xbox. And same thing with Fallout and Starfield and all these things.
Call of Duty,
totally. They moved on. Far Cry.
I was arguing with Mike Minotti this week because he was, you know, I think, you know, like dismissing Call of Duty. Like he's kind of like, I can't believe they're making their whole special thing about their upcoming showcase about Call of Duty. I'm like, I can.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
It's Call of Duty, dude. And and I get it. I do get it, because to a lot of people in this space, it's Call of Duty. They dismiss it. It is also the biggest game in the world. And
I dismissed it back in the PlayStation 4 days.
This is a landmark Call of Duty game that like really gets people jazzed. Like, that's a huge deal.
God, they've got to nail this one. They can't have a miss.
If it's Modern Warfare 3, you know, like kind of in problem. You know,
I gotta say, one of the things I've been most wrong about, good thing nobody listened or read what I was doing back then, but when Sony got up on stage and they're like, Call of Duty, like the new home for Call of Duty is PlayStation. And I'm like, go ahead. Like, not a big deal. Who cares? I thought back then Call of Duty had run its course and they were just warming up. Call of Duty got way bigger on the PlayStation. And so now there's this opportunity for Xbox to do the same. And I just can't help but feel like they're not going to have that same turn.
Well,
they're not going to have that same
at your
moment.
point, it does feel like Call of Duty maybe is at saturation point, and maybe it's on
now it is decline. Like, this is like, when are you making these decisions?
It might be on some decline. And I do think Deb's point about this is as long as they continue to sell Call of Duty on PlayStation, it's going to take a lot to get a lot of people to come over.
Well, the sad thing
Call of Duty and Game Pass alone is not enough for people to switch consoles at this point.
Probably not.
I think it's about making your attempt to sell the next console. Like, you can maybe make it about that. Like, I have a friend of mine at work. We just hired a guy at work. He's a little younger than me. He has a PlayStation. All he plays is Call of Duty.
Yeah.
He is that guy that we always speak about.
Yeah.
It's the only game he's ever played.
Can they bake in Game Pass ads into a PlayStation game?
And I asked him, I was like, have you played Last of Us or Uncharted? He's like, nope. Just plays Call of Duty. And yesterday we sat down and I did talk to him. He was like, hey, what's all this stuff I'm seeing about Xbox on Twitter? And I'm like, you know, how long do you have? Like, let's get to lunch.
Sit down.
And I start telling him about Game Pass. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, the problem is, like, they've got this subscription service they're going to put Call of Duty into. And like that, this is the one time he was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, they have a subscription. It's like Netflix, and it just has 100,000 games in it. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, and Call of Duty is just going to be in it. And he's like, I don't have to buy it for like $70 every. I'm like, no, you just.
That's the thing. Can we just wait for like this to hit before we make any like permanent decisions, like closing some studios? Can we just get past October?
No, we can't even get to the point. We have yet to put Call of Duty into Game Pass at all before we already sabotage Game Pass by talking
like, there's
about
no going back from this. There's no let's reopen Tango GameWorks. That's not a thing. Nope. That's gone. Nope. I think that's the thing that hits the most. The other piece about this is, I think one of the reasons that Call of Duty did find so much success on PlayStation is, number one, the PS4 was so much more powerful. It was obviously the better place to play the game.
It was cheaper, better.
It got, and the piece I'm leading up to here is like they did the shameless exclusivity stuff. And this is like stuff that's as tried and true, whether people like it or not, it worked and it pulled people to that system. I don't think Xbox is doing that. I don't think, and it totally worked for the 360.
Yep,
yes,
it does work.
We're gonna do
only work. It doesn't work when you're the smallest competitor. People
that's exactly it.
They don't like it when you're the lowest on the lowest totem pole, but at the top,
go for it.
Like when the masses are behind you, when you have more people behind you, they love the exclusivity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or at least comparable, I guess. Like the thing is, everybody knows such a.
I mean, when you make the reason that people hated Tomb Raider was because nobody had an Xbox.
I guess. God, that sucks. So yeah, I'd be interested to see. I'm very curious to see what they do with Call of Duty on PlayStation, like how they message this thing, and maybe there's something about
it'll be the same. It's gonna be box copies of Call of Duty.
That's it. Like nothing into like
flash screen, but no.
They can't put a little coupon in there.
I do expect that when they show Call of Duty, whether this is ahead of their showcase or at their showcase, I think for every commercial that you see of Call of Duty,
that's what I was getting to.
You're going to get that day one on Game Pass, either start or stop that they usually add into things.
Yeah.
It depends on Game Pass,
depends on this decision they seem to be making. Like, are they leaning into Game Pass or are they not? Like right now, I feel like they've been wavering, and you and I have talked about this for a while. I feel like they've been wavering for a bit. And there was one showcase that we were talking about afterwards where I was angry that like they didn't make it like crystal clear. This one's Game Pass. And you're like, why do they have to do that kind of marketing? And I feel like maybe looking back, this was a sign of maybe they're not leaning into Game Pass as much as we think they should be, or that they like all these moves leading up to would make you think that they should be.
I brought up the same thing with the last ID at Xbox show where they were super long. But there was really hard to determine what was coming to Game Pass and what wasn't.
Right.
Like I had to check multiple sources to get a clear understanding of where things were. And to your point, we've had multiple reports, as much as you could believe them, that, like with Devolver.
Yeah.
They've said that like these Game Pass deals aren't there anymore. Like they're not getting the money that they used to be getting.
Right. Yeah.
They just publicly in their earnings said, we don't want to rely on subscription models. Like we're going back to selling games outright, and then we'll jump on subscriptions on the back end.
Yeah.
Because apparently for some, I don't want to say for everyone, but for some, the math doesn't seem to be working as much as it used to. And that's probably because, again, Game Pass is plateaued.
Yeah.
It's stalled. I think Xbox has borrowed against Game Pass in the future being bigger than it is. Like they bought a bunch of stuff thinking Game Pass was going to get to 50 and 75 and it hasn't.
Yeah.
So now I think they are probably looking at, okay, we can't keep spending the amount that we were spending on maybe third parties or day one indies or, these games that aren't really driving any new growth. Like we can't, go out of our way to make sure that, I don't know, like the type of games like Silksong and stuff are there.
I think maybe one piece that's kind of happening here is they're trying to create this umbrella of Xbox, and through this umbrella you can play on console, you can play on mobile through cloud, and you can play on PC. This race to 50 million subscribers, it's not happening through console. I don't think this is a brand new thing that anybody's saying, but like I feel like it's been a bit of a missed opportunity to become like this PC entity. And of course it's going to be difficult against Steam, but like the
horse left that barn decades ago.
I get, but like that's the whole. There are 6 billion gamers on the planet, or there's 3 billion people on the planet. Like it's through these other devices, and they're launching this mobile store.
Yeah, as I say, that's their dumb thing where they're doing the mobile thing.
Yeah, that might be the nail in the coffin. Honestly,
thought when they were talking about buying Activision, I thought that they would incorporate all of the gaming content for mobile into the Xbox app on your phone.
Yeah,
and that you would again. Where my head has been this whole time is that you would make everybody subscribe to Game Pass.
Yeah.
And it seems like they don't want to do that at all. They want to launch a completely different mobile app store that you buy games from. And it's like, nobody's going to do that.
I know. Like, I'm really curious
Nobody's going to do that.
In 2024, we've had smartphones since 2007. And now is the time that we're going to launch a mobile store? Who
Again, a decade after you close Windows Phone.
I know I saw that. Who tweeted that? There was this pattern of Nokia's in third place, Microsoft buys it, closes Windows Phone.
I didn't see that.
There was another.
I'm thinking about Tango. Like in my head, I'm like, like I said, if you plan to launch a portable game system,
yeah,
and you've already closed Tango, like, are we going to be looking at years, 8 years from now, where we're like, man, we really wish we had Tango.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's like you want to launch a mobile store, like you're probably sitting there kicking yourself that you don't have a phone. Like nobody's going to buy apps off a separate store. Like, it's just not going to happen. I thought it was going to be Game Pass. I thought there'd be like a mobile section in the Xbox app, like Netflix,
where
you could click in, you could get games on your phone, and you're getting people into Game Pass. You're getting them subscribing. You're finding new subscriptions.
Yep.
You're finding growth, and it's like, they don't want to do that. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Like I hate doing this because I could just get depressed. Like I was just looking on my computer. Like there is a Microsoft store. Like is that what we're getting on the phones? Is like this where people are supposedly like I don't ever open the Microsoft store on my PC. The only ever time that it happens is when I have to like I'm downloading something from the internet and it links to you actually download it from the Microsoft.
The only time
store.
I ever open up the Microsoft store is when my Xbox app tells me I have to update.
Exactly. Yes.
And I wish it didn't.
I'm looking at it for like almost like the first.
Like I wish it would just update in the background and not open the stupid store.
It's unbelievable the clunkiness of it all. How are they just missing?
Yeah, I can't see. I mean, to me, it makes sense. I can't see says I think they should do that. They just do the Netflix thing. Put your mobile games on Game Pass, download and play with touch. That's where my head was a year ago when they were in court and they were talking about bringing Activision and King Games, and they wanted to bring them to mobile. In my head, that meant we're going to put them in the Game Pass. There'd be a mobile tab in Game Pass where you have mobile games. Maybe, Sean, maybe you could actually download them. So Game Pass wouldn't just be about cloud streaming. You'd have cloud streaming for the games that can't run.
Yeah.
And you would have mobile games for the games that can.
Yeah.
And like Game Pass would be this nice little bus to like serve both, to like be in the middle.
Yeah.
And no, they mean like we want to have the Apple Store. And I'm like, that's not Like why? Why would anybody use that?
Why would anybody use that?
Like what world do you think anybody's going to not go to the App Store for you? Or the Play Store?
Epic
15 years of conditioning.
Yeah. And I don't see, I mean, maybe there's something there that we'll discover that differentiates this even a little bit, but I don't see that even kind of like level of thinking from Microsoft. Epic, like Tim Sweeney was like, well, we'll change up what devs get. Like we'll change up the mix, the take that Epic takes. And it is different and it is better on.
Yeah, it is.
Like they take a hit.
And I still think a lot of developers can't afford not to be on Steam.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. Like even with the billions of dollars behind Epic. Totally. Yeah. Like this is.
Nobody uses. I say nobody. I mean, we're talking globally, macro. Nobody uses the Epic Game Store.
Right.
I do, but people don't.
Yeah. I mean, I have Alan Wake 2 on there, and
I use whatever I can get the best deal. Like, wherever I can play it the cheapest is where I'm going to play. But like, when you see exclusivity, several people are like, I posted a tweet yesterday. It was about Hellblade. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Because it hits hard. Alan Wake 2 was marketed well, won awards and recognition, and was available on all platforms. It sold 1.3 million copies and is yet to break even. Hellblade 2 is fucked.
Wow. Yeah.
How do you feel about my anger? I'm angry that Xbox did this on Hellblade's doorstep.
Oh, big time. Big time. Like
you couldn't save this news for like July. You had to do it now.
I know.
Right on Hellblade's door, right in front of your showcase. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? Why
all
today?
Of it's tone deaf.
Why now? Why did you just like? It's like that. You couldn't wait a month. What would a month have given you?
I know. Like you can make up your mind and then just like carry on and be busy with something else for a
little while. You don't even know you're going to do it. It's like, okay, we're going to do this, but like, do you not think about like the value of this sort of PR hit right as you're trying to make your next push?
Yep. And it's been a while since a push happened. This is what I mean. Like the taint is everywhere, man. Like the
fucking man-made
it's
problems.
It's the Xbox taint. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
just touching everything.
Nobody at that boardroom, the table. It's like, okay, we're gonna close Tango. I get it, but like, let's do it in August, though, right?
Yeah, well, that we were talking about this game when we launched the console. Like this was
like,
this is a
let's
big
not
deal.
saddle Hellblade with this. Let's not make everybody angry at us the 10 days before we launch our big game, a month, weeks before our big show.
Yeah,
Sean, what is everybody going to talk and ask about after the show? Why did you close Tango?
Of course.
What makes like how could you like apparently Ryan McCaffrey's going to interview Phil that day.
Oh, I can't wait.
And he's going to ask, how can anybody expect you not to close like Ninja Theory? Like that you have to ask the question if you're in journalism. It's right there. It's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Why even address it? Like honestly, for no other reason than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth to spend the money to delay what they just did for 60 days.
Yeah.
For 45 days, let me get through, let me do the interviews, then we'll do the bad stuff and we'll get out of the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a crisis PR team aspect here that seems to be like null and void. And that's like, God, that is easy. That is a low hanging fruit.
It's a level of accounting-based decision-making that I just don't understand. And you and I talked about this last time. Like, you just spent $69 billion. It's not like there's no cash left to pay anybody.
Of course.
Right. So I just don't understand how you go 69 billion, let's acquire this stuff. And then the very next day or seemingly like the next week go like, ooh, we're burning through whatever, hundreds of thousands or even millions. Like people don't understand. A billion is 1,000 millions. Like a billion, the scale, and they're $1 trillion company. 1,000 billion.
$3 trillion company.
Unbelievable scale. I feel like they don't even realize it. Like when you're, do you know how much cash you're talking about? What the difference? You talk about the rounding error. I think I'm right with you. So yeah, a couple more months would have been fine. And I'm curious. I'd love to be in the mind of Ryan McCaffrey as all of this is going on, and anybody, any journalist, any media who has a chance to sit down with Xbox leadership right now, because Xbox leadership is feeling the pressure from the community right now. But I think also people who sit down with Xbox leadership, what kind of pressure do they have to ask those questions?
People want answers.
They do want answers. And this is a true test time for journalism to get after those questions. Yeah. And I've been loud about this for a number of months. Dude, I'm tired of the buddy.
That Bloomberg article with Sarah Bond was kind of trash.
Oh, yeah.
They let her just speak around not answering anything without any follow-up or check at all.
Yeah.
You just like, how about you rephrase the question and ask it again until you get a decent answer? What? Like, I know. What did you just say, Sarah? At no point
maybe she was so visibly uncomfortable.
We are all now dumber for having heard your answer.
The sighs were amazing. They'd ask the questions, be like...
And you just acknowledge that it sucks. My thing is,
you know what I love about the gaming industry, Donnie, is that it's so creative and that there's no really one size fits all as far as success goes. So basically that just means that anybody can get canned at any moment for any reason.
And we have different reasons for every different team and all the garbage. It's just, it blows and it sucks doesn't it suck, I think, extra for us? We've been, quote unquote holding up this flag, like trying to hold hope.
I've just been excited about it. I've just been like genuinely, I still, dude, you know what the thing that actually scares me the most is I so desperately want another Xbox. I don't want them out of the console business because if my only option is a PlayStation, dude, I'm PC gaming and Switch. That's it. If my only option, no, dude, no, because it'll be the size of a room. We're going to go back to, yeah, Chelsea plays.
Well, they would have to make it smaller.
No, they'll be the size of like we're gonna go back to like computers in the 1960s.
Like the Slim was a decent step forward. I still haven't got one, but like if they had like a cool, to me, it's the games. If they release,
and I love the games,
awesome Astrobot game or a new Infamous or something, I could be back. But so
don't get me wrong.
The problem for me has been, Spider-Man and Returnal and like these things. I don't have to get a console for those.
I'm into them. I literally this is where people can go I've been very consistent on this. I don't like the controller and I don't like the console itself. I think that there are things that people overlook that they're fine with that are a giant pain in the ass to me.
Because they've got the games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I feel like people just don't know
huge popular games that people love, like Spider-Man. I mean, for a lot of people, that's the only thing that matters. This one has Spider-Man.
Totally.
You know, and for me, it doesn't. I own Spider-Man on PC and could care less to play it. Like I bought it for my son. You know, so that's the only thing for me is it's been a minute since they've really given me a game. Stellar Blade was like the first one that I actually like consider. I was like, maybe, you know, but I think Stellar Blade will come to PC soon enough. But if they could get back to making some of those type of games that I really like in PlayStation Land, which they don't seem to like want to do anymore, like Infamous, I think sounds dead. You know, Hot Shots is dead. You know, they've kind of closed off a lot of those things. But like, if there's like a new Uncharted game, like I might.
As you're talking about this, I'm like really becoming kind of nostalgic for those early podcast Beyond days. Like PlayStation was such a fun place to be, and actually, and 360 was a fun place to be as well. Yeah, I know you don't like Mass Effect, but like that's one of my favorite games of all time, exclusive to Xbox. BioShock, exclusive to Xbox. Like these were games that they didn't have any history before. It wasn't like trying to steal away Rise of the Tomb Raider as part of like this ongoing franchise. The counterpoint to that always, I should bring this up almost every time somebody says anything about exclusivity related to Rise of the Tomb Raiders. I should bring up Street Fighter every single time. Just shut up. Like you can't be talking anything about Rise of the Tomb Raider without talking about Street Fighter. You can't.
I think they should have just bought Tomb Raider. And like in hindsight, you should have just bought Crystal and Tomb Raider. Like it was on the block. It was available. You should have just done that.
Yeah,
and then
maybe
that ends it with it quickly. People have been mad, but it's like, look, we found the chance to you know, get one of the best developers in the world and a great franchise. We want to bring it to console.
I guess it's an interesting thing, just, and I've always kind of talked about that, like what rules are okay for one and what are okay for the other. Like PlayStation has so much success, they'll continue to do so. They don't have to buy studios or publishers. They sign a deal with Stellar Blade and Final Fantasy Remake and these games that are a huge deal, and they're PlayStation games, and they don't have to. And Helldivers, like those aren't first party studios at all. Like the story of the PlayStation 5 will be told by second party partnerships. 1,000, and probably so is PS4 if I'm really thinking about it. Yeah, like these console generations are fascinating. Now that we're 5 years into this, so would they come a 2020?
This generation sucks.
I kind of like, what is it?
I've been saying it the whole time, but it's just not been great. You know,
well, I see what you're saying. I feel like a year, even 2 years ago, is too early to call it. I think it's time to call it. And you just happen to have been like, I feel like there was a chance for things to have turned around, but they needed Halo, they needed Starfield to hit.
Too many delays, too many misses.
Yeah,
you know.
Even Forza Motorsport, one of my most favorite franchises on the planet. While I love it. Well, I thought it was great, and I've played it for I think over 30 or 40 hours. People can check me on that. I brought this
up on the podcast, I don't know, many episodes ago, and you were on my mind that night, and I just never followed up on it. I feel like Motorsport came and went.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of buzz about it before it came out, and it just kind of, I have yet to hear anybody talk about any of those updates in a substantial way.
Yeah.
Like none of it, you know, I'm not seeing like any tweets. Nobody's talking about it on our Discord. Like, and I may not be, and that was the thing is, you know, I was talking to Delvin and he was like, yeah, maybe you're just not into those communities. It's like, yeah, but I've played Forza for a long time. I've seen it before.
Yeah.
You know, I am into Xbox communities and I just haven't seen it.
I feel like its ripple in the community has felt similar to Forza 5, Forza 6, Forza 7. Truly. Okay. The thing about it that's different now that
not Horizon.
But it didn't launch. The console didn't launch with the Forza. I think that may be one of the big differences. Like Xbox One launched with Forza 5, and it was like, oh, look at this game. It's stereotypical and cliche at this point. Everybody knows it, but it's your showcase game that sat alongside the launch of the console. So maybe that's what you're missing now because you don't have that, like those two tied together. It just came along and
also didn't feel like much of a showcase. Like when I played Motorsport and I wasn't like blown away.
I agree with you. Yeah.
You know, it wasn't the showcase.
Well,
we've rebuilt our entire engine and everything to show you something we've never been able to show you before.
Yeah.
You know, and I played
They did say that. And the thing is, like one of the showcases they did, it might have been even 2 years before the game came out. They did the opposite thing of what you would typically see with a racing game, and they slowed it down. They like, instead of like going out, look how fast everything is, and they they put it to a snail's pace and they zoomed in at all the detail. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. I think they did a good job of that. But it just kind of landed in the middle of the console generation. And I actually, when I was doing the review, I had been playing for maybe 10 or 15 hours at a certain point. I'm like, I was saying what you said. This isn't blowing my eyeballs out of my face. Like, why is that? It's not, these graphics aren't doing what a racing game typically does. And I'd been convinced in my mind that Forza 7 looked better. Like, in my mind, for whatever reason, I remember this game looking better than the newest one that I'm playing right now. And so I actually went back and I played Forza 6 and 7, and I captured some footage from them both. And it is undeniable that the newest Forza game is way better looking when I put them side by side. But in my memory, I was convinced. And I'm like, this is a downgrade. It looks dull. It's not better. And then when I put them literally side by side to do my best sort of impression of a Digital Foundry kind of thing, I'm like, oh, why did I have 7 and 6 up on this pedestal?
Sure.
And it's just timing. It's just like the opinion that you craft at the time that you play the game is so strong. It's so everlasting.
I do wonder why my initial impression, because like, I don't think that way. When I saw Hellblade, I was enamored.
Yeah.
Hellblade 2 looks incredible.
Yeah.
You know, like it just does. Like in the trailer, it looks incredible.
I can't wait for people to get their hands on it.
I'm terrified that maybe it's a miss, and that's the reason. Like there's so much evidence to suggest that they're not confident in it, and I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Think of how hard they beat the drum for Redfall and how much.
Maybe that's why.
Not that it matters at all, but like, they had controllers for Redfall and the Bite Back edition and Steelbooks. Like they really, like we were hyping up Redfall, and it seems like they're doing the complete opposite with Hellblade, and I don't get it. They're like, okay, it's shorter, it's cheaper, it's digital only, you'll get nothing. Like they did just release a theme, and I do enjoy it. I put the theme on my Xbox, but like, it's not the same.
It's not.
It makes me think, and like we do this with third-party releases all the time. When you see a publisher seem to duck it, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Like what do they know that we don't know?
But Helldivers is very similar. It's not first party, but Sony didn't promote that. True. And I mean, there's a couple of second party, third party kind of stuff. Like Until Dawn, very similar.
I want it to be as incredible as I've always dreamed it to be, but I'm just, with everything they've done to the game,
this is this fanboy thing as I'm going to say.
Impact.
Well, maybe again, like there's no basis for this at all. I don't think they've ever done anything even remotely like this. But wouldn't it be wonderful if Xbox just like adopted this methodology where they just let the game speak for itself instead of like trying to spin it or tell us something that it's not or whatever? Like, wouldn't it be great if the game was just amazing and that was enough?
That would be great.
I'd take that.
All everybody wants,
dude. Honestly, there would be a paradigm shift as far as expectations go, because wouldn't it be amazing if you just had this game that was great and like then you'd wonder.
Isn't that Hi-Fi Rush?
I don't think so. I think
they just dropped it and everybody loved it.
I mean, I'm not as hot on Hi-Fi Rush as a game in general, but I'm also.
Never mind, but.
I give the release of that game like a D+, C-. I don't think they should have shadow dropped that game. I don't think that served the game well. I think that actually is more to your point you're making about Hellblade. It's like, well, we don't really know about this one, so we'll try to do like kind of like a publicity or marketing stunt by doing a shadow drop here and see. Like, I don't. As a gamer, I think shadow drops are very exciting. But as somebody who sort of like watches the industry, like I just don't know about that, dude. I don't know if that's the way things should go.
There's been a lot of talk about that. That's been Mike's point from the get-go, from when the day it announced and released. He was like, shouldn't they have marketed this? They didn't sell it. It was in Game Pass. And I don't think that Hi-Fi Rush has a lack of awareness because it was shadow dropped. I think Hi-Fi Rush got all the buzz that a game like it could hope for.
Sure.
Like the surprise, the shadow release, and the tale and the awards and the acknowledgement. Like, I don't think doing it the opposite way changes the outcome.
I think it's about the
That was a
sort of
year ago, right?
timeline around it.
There was another thing that was in my head this past week is we talked about like that developer direct. Wasn't that the first like developer direct thing that they did?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was like their switch to like the Nintendo style.
Kind of.
Was that
yeah.
one, and they dropped they shadowed that was like the big thing, the one more thing. And a year later the studio's closed.
That's insane. The thing that I feel like gets lost in the car, because we talk about these things. I have this idea of style of communication is really challenging because I'm only able to express to you one thing. You can actually hear my brain sometimes when I'm talking, like flipping between like 16 different things. I'm trying to like talk about one thing. It's frustrating to my mind that language is linear. I can have a stream of words and I can't, what I'm trying to actually convey is visual. This is why I like whiteboards so much. There's more to this than any single point that I'm able to make. And I have to make single points because that's how language works. So with Hi-Fi Rush, it's not just about whether or not shadow drops are good or bad. The thing about Hi-Fi Rush that I want to visualize for people is like what happened around Hi-Fi Rush, what was happening before it, and what happened after it. And so what Xbox I think has failed to do, and that Nintendo has nailed, and they did it for the entire Switch lifetime, is the beats that they hit every month or every other month. Like there are beats to hit, and so you can have wins and you can have losses. You can try cool things. You can have like your tried and true methodology of releases and promotions and stuff, and then you can try something cool and neat like shadow dropping stuff into NSO or Metroid Prime Remastered. You can do all those things, but Xbox is kind of like me, and it's like the multitasking ability it's not there. They're like, we're doing this thing, and then we're gonna do it. And then I'll start thinking about the next thing. And you got to have these things working in parallel and in concert. And there's no concert. There's no symphony of Xbox. It's just this moment, and they're thinking like this far in front of their face, like not thinking beyond the edge of their nose.
That's been my thing this whole time. I talked about on our show. I feel like they're overly data dependent, and they feel so reactionary at all times. And that goes back to our conversation last month. And since the Activision thing closed and the multi-plats and all that talk, my thing is, what's the vision? What's the goal? Where are we going?
Yes.
Like there is none. We're going to do a handheld. Maybe we'll do a console. We want a cloud stream. We want to do all of it. We want Game Pass, well, maybe not Game Pass for these games, but multi-platform. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I feel like at a certain point they had a semblance of that. I've always harped on Xbox for not really having an identity, but at least for a point, there's like, well, at least it's Game Pass. If you're ever questioning what Xbox is, it's Game Pass. That's
I bought in. That was and I bought in so wholeheartedly to that vision. I'm like, I'm here for this. Let's go.
Yeah.
And now even that's on shaky ground.
Yeah.
Like closing Tangrowth, like really, it puts a hesitation into all of it.
What do you think if PlayStation comes out with a Pro this year? Does that do anything? Does that just further destroy Xbox? Does it change anything? Does it move the needle?
Here's the thing is I think a lot of folks will say, games are great. I don't need a new console. The Pro will sell very well.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. New hardware always does. It's not going to sell 50 million units.
Yeah.
Right. But it will reinvigorate their base to rebuy. And that means that the older consoles will get traded in or sold or handed down.
Yeah.
And that's more customers. And then they'll get in and start buying games. And there will be constant comparisons from the Pro model to the Series X. And the Series X won't hold up because it's not a Pro model. And on a minor scale, I think it'll matter.
Yeah.
Like to the enthusiasts.
To the people who watch Digital Foundry, and they'll always see like the frame rate.
The Pro sounds great. It really does. And it sounds like a nice piece of hardware. And I think Xbox wants to brace the storm so they can kick off another, I guess, console. If it's a handheld, maybe it's a console and a handheld. Like nobody. Yeah. That's what on our show this week, I was like, the thing that I think for casuals, especially, or like the narrative of the conversation, there's an expectation of what PlayStation is. Like to your point, you know what you're getting, you know what you're buying, you know what to expect. Like, we know that there's going to be a PlayStation 6 and it's going to have big, expensive games. So they're probably going to be really good. And you know that now. Like right now, you know that you can expect that. And that's easy to buy into. It's easy to be like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep adding my library. And it stops you from switching. And you have that, at least right now, for the first time in a long time, you have that with Nintendo.
Yeah.
They're going to release another Switch, and all of your Switch, you're going to keep switching like you've been switching.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that at all right now for Xbox.
Yeah.
Like, as somebody who's bought and played Xbox mostly for the last 15 years, I don't know what comes after the Series X. Is it a console? Is it a real console? Is it a PC? Is it handheld? Is it a streaming stick? Is it all of those things?
Whatever happened to that thing? Whatever happened to the streaming stick?
They nicked it again. Data driven, following trends.
Oh man!
Charts.
Kind of wanted that.
I did too. For extra consoles, for extra rooms.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, it's kind of a bummer. And that would be like, what I like about that kind of thing is just that it's different. Like, it's a differentiation point. If PlayStation's going to go,
John?
I mean, yeah.
How do you find growth?
You got to get there.
You could have potentially sold a streaming stick to somebody that has a Switch or a PlayStation or has nothing.
Mm-hmm.
For $20, $40, $100. You could have sold them a controller and a streaming box.
Yeah.
And it's something. It's
maybe there's, yeah.
They're really good at that. They're really good at finding growth through toasters and cassette tapes.
Dude.
And they find growth through refrigerators and sweaters. They find growth through controllers. And, they're great at that. Anything but make games. Like, anything but, like, finish the games. And have them release, like you said, the Symphony is I love that. That you should change the podcast, the Xbox Symphony, because again, it's not one release.
Yeah,
they need 10. They need them on schedule. The promise that they made, you need, and it doesn't have to be every quarter, but like every 3 months to every 6 months, you need a roadmap that people can trust and expect, and they hit on time.
Yeah,
boom, boom, boom. If you can get to there, Game Pass grows. That's my long-standing. The only thing that I really believe in is the growth would be there if you would just make the fucking games. And
and it's sort of like
all the growth you could ever want.
Yes, and I don't want to hear anything about it until like we see that.
Until you do that, it's like, how about you just try?
Yeah,
how about you try to do that before you make any other rash decisions?
Yeah. It's amazing, and they're just airing out the whole like strategy. I feel like they have like a meeting. They take minutes from that meeting, and then they put it on Kotaku or Bloomberg or whatever. They're like, "Let us tell you the things that we just decided from this executive meeting that we just had."
I mean, somewhat maybe misreported, or maybe just a big part of this does seem like I do think Xbox is in conflict with Microsoft. Internally, they're in conflict of what they want to be.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know who's in whose camp, but like there's obviously, we've seen the messaging for a couple years since the Activision thing. There's some and like Satya went on under oath, sounded like he didn't really want to be doing the traditional console business.
Mm-hmm.
We started to get wins that like, it sounds like they want to be third party. And I've been more and more coming to the conclusion that I think maybe it's in their best interest that they go third party.
I don't want it.
And I'm with you. It bums me out. I don't want it either. But like, I'm starting to feel like they
think they can just launch a store on any device. It doesn't work like that. The store and the device and the ecosystem are integrated. They don't have a Windows phone. You need an Xbox. Correct. For an Xbox store to exist, you need a home base for it. You can't just like float in and
try. That's going to stop them, or at least a part of it stopping them. It's the Call of Duty thing, right? Like, I think there are people in Microsoft that are like, stop playing this game, stop wasting this money. Let's just make the games, put them on all the stores, and make as much money as we can, right? And there's financial sense and prudence to doing that. And you've got others that are probably trying to hold the Xbox brand together, and there probably is like, they're in third place and they don't have as much, but they do have 25, 30 million players that are on consoles, and they're making 30% of every transaction that comes through those doors. They probably don't want to turn that off. Mm-hmm. It's the Xbox Live thing again.
Yeah.
You need to turn it off. You shouldn't charge people for online. You say you want to be like PC, but you're not.
Yeah.
But the reason you don't is that's a lot of money to give up. So what you end up doing is, well, can we find a way to have our cake and eat it too? Yeah. Can we be a console maker that also puts games on other consoles, but Game Pass is exclusive, but maybe not for this, or and that's the problem.
That's why you lose identity.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Like, what exactly are you? I'm curious, and I don't know anything about anything. That's like, that should get a shirt. Like, I don't know nothing about nothing. But I remember a time when like consoles and PCs were so different, and for whatever reason, like that allowed consoles to get like just a different experience
Of
around it.
course.
It's just like this closed system, and this probably sounds like old man yelling at cloud, like I'm just talking backwards here. But like, is there something to that? And PlayStation
Yes.
kind of fell on their own sword with their what do they call the processor? The processor for the PS3? I can't remember.
Cell
Cell processor.
processor.
Thank you. Yes. Like obviously that didn't work for them, and I just always wonder, is that era behind us? Are
Yeah,
all
it
these
won't.
consoles going to be some sort of
Yeah.
PC architecture?
Yes. Well, except for the
Yeah.
Switch. The Switch is that.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah,
Switch is
it's its
ARM.
own thing.
Yeah, it's ARM. It's ARM based, and that's why it's tied into mobile, and it's got its own thing. And
Yeah.
I'm very excited about the leaks that are coming out, and can't wait to see what's happening
Ooh.
there. But like the architectures back in the day, the Power PC and the the coding like direct to metal and stuff like that, those were necessary to like punch above PC components, at a
Right.
cheaper price.
Right. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Yes.
That's the thing that's been flipped with x86. It's much cheaper to just adapt to that. It's cheaper for the development side, and it's cheaper on the hardware
Right.
side, and that's why they adapted to it. And the problem that they found is that the returns are PC like. So it's funny when you see Phil be like, more younger people are playing PC. It's like no shit.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah. You launch because you became directly comparable to
Right.
it. You've got these AMD
exactly.
chips
You
in
became
there.
directly comparable.
Yeah.
You're more closed off. You can't run Nintendo emulators like everybody else does on their PC. You can't run mods and Roblox and or Fortnite or Minecraft like everybody else can. Like you don't offer as much as your direct counterpart does.
Yeah.
You play games very nice for $500.
Mhm.
Just don't. That's not as big a barrier to everyone else.
So now you're selling a budget, what everybody would call like a budget PC.
A budget PC.
Mm-hmm.
That's limited. I can't send emails on my Xbox. I can't browse the internet.
And the same goes for PlayStation,
I can't
of course.
check threads or like whatever else. Yeah. But like, that's exactly what you're doing. You're selling a budget PC, and they do play games good for the amount of money, but I just don't feel like that's as appealing when you stack it up next to. There's just not as appealing. Appealing is not the word. There's just more competition. There are more options. So don't be surprised when there's more options. People find more options, especially when you're putting your exclusives on the other option.
Yeah.
When you can play Ghost of Tsushima and God of War and Gears of War.
I played Starfield on PC.
on the PC.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
like
it ran better.
Yeah, they're like, well, it's more expensive. Like, but it does a lot more.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that doesn't is Switch. It's a portable. It's got its own thing. It does have its own exclusives. You're not trying to do any of that. Like Nintendo's like, yeah, we're not, they're not doing any of that.
It's funny because Nintendo took their console and then their handheld and smashed it together, and still, so that gave them this identity that they have. Everybody knows what Nintendo is, and yet that one thing can do so many things. Like they've managed to do all of it. They've got their cake and they can eat it too. They can run Doom on a Switch. They can run Witcher 3. They can run all these things on this thing. Like that was really. There was early, I think it was actually the very first commercials, like Skyrim's on this thing. It's like, oh snap, you play Skyrim on a Nintendo system?
On a handheld.
Now we're talking. Yeah, like something, I love that about Nintendo. Like that's something I don't.
Again, whenever they lift the veil on this, we're gonna get there. There's gonna be another Skyrim game. My guess is, I've been thinking, I think it's oh God, I just forgot the name. I can see the damn box.
Who makes it? Like a PlayStation game, an Xbox game? I'm probably not helping.
No. What's the game that you play? The Souls game.
Oh, Elden Ring on Switch.
I think it's Elden
would be
Ring.
huge.
I think Elden Ring is the Skyrim this time around. That's just my guess.
There's
a lot of different
guess.
There's a lot of different games that could be that, and Elden Ring I think is the one that I'm going with. I think Elden Ring on Switch it's like that game could probably run on Switch now. Like it's not that crazy of a thing. And I think they could have it. It could be like a launch title, and I think it would get people excited. Like it's that Skyrim effect where it's like, I can't believe I can play this on a portable now, and it's just kind of like a showcase. It's just a showcase for honestly for a smaller game, not any like it's a big game.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm trying to say. The development probably isn't Nintendo could probably float that a little bit.
There is something about Elden Ring that just seems like it's very well optimized, even for the hardware it's built on right now. Like it does seem like it does, and I don't know why that is. Yeah, that'd be really interesting. Elden Ring on, just a wow factor. I did not expect to see this here, and
didn't even know you could do that.
That's only possible because of how we think about Nintendo already. Underpowered, family friendly, and you do get to have these like pop moments that kind of work. It doesn't erode the brand of Switch, which I'm sure they think about quite a lot. The Switch Attach, is that the
there was a rumor name? There was a rumor, and it wasn't a rumor. I brought this up on the show.
We started it.
There was a survey that went out to YouTube.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Where they had the Switch Attach listed as an option, and people were like, "Oh my god, did they just leak the name?" And like, no, I don't think so, because why would YouTube know the name? But the moment that we got rumors that the Joy-Cons like magnetically, I was like, "Oh no!" It was the first thing I thought of. I was like, "Oh no!"
What if it's the Snap, the Nintendo
they are
Snap?
Gonna call it, I can see like they are gonna call it the Attach.
This goes back to team names. The Utah Blizzard, and what do you?
I really want them to just call it the Switch 2.
So do I.
Or the Super Switch.
Super Switch would be amazing.
Work really well. But like, it's just easy. Switch 2 is easy to sell.
I want to go back to all the clips of podcasts and YouTube videos and everything. People and tweets. People not liking the name Nintendo Switch. They thought it was dumb, and that didn't last very long. All you'd have to do is play Breath of the Wild, and they're like,
"Well, you remember the damn." I'll eternally hate the person forever, but the guy that makes Oddworld.
Oh yeah,
he was the guy who crushed the Switch and talked about how it was going to be terrible and the Wii U was dead and everything, and then he's going to eat that for the rest forever.
It's okay. He obviously makes great. I can't even. I don't want to be mean. I hate those games.
He ported all of them to Switch, which is even funnier. By the end. All of his games
Chelsea likes those games, but they're not for me.
No, I've always hated Oddworld. I Can't See did talk about hardware. I had it up for a long time, but we never got there. But before we move on, if we're moving on, it says that, I want to see what's coming for the holidays from Xbox. They mentioned that they have hardware related coming by the end of the year. It's not a console. No, it is a console. They're going to have a digital Series X, Sean's namesake. He's been asking for this since launch. Like, that's the hardware that they're going to have. It's not new hardware. It's not a Pro.
Yeah,
I think maybe we get that new controller, maybe, and I'm not even certain that's.
Yeah, it's just a price point play, which could, like, if nothing else, maybe that's a little interesting to have. Cheaper. Yeah, and especially if PlayStation is coming out with a Pro and it's going to be X dollars and play.
But I feel like PlayStation, they've really covered the Series S well. Like, they're right there. Like, they've got their digital model. Like, you really have to cut low.
Yeah,
and here's the thing: if you put the Series X digital at the same price as the PS5 digital, the Slim is, who's picking the?
I know.
I feel like you got to be lower than that. You got to be cheaper.
Yeah. No, and there's the whole perception thing. Like, is it so cheap that it's not like worth anything?
That's true too.
Like, I think that's Nintendo's big play.
Xbox, I mean, it's easy for me to say. It's not my billions of dollars to spend, but like, to me, I would be trying to remove any piece of friction or doubt from anybody buying a console. Yeah. So if PlayStation Slim is $399, I want to be at like $350 or $300.
Yeah.
That's where I would put the Series X digital at $299.
Yeah. It's time.
Yeah. And what is the Series? The Series S though is at $299.
No, well, they kind of like they changed. They swapped out that model. Yeah, they've got the 1 terabyte
put that at $199.
God,
I would just do that. I would go $199, $299, and $399, and that'd be my consoles.
Yeah.
That handheld is not. So there's been so much rumoring about the handheld. That handheld is years away.
Yeah.
I hate to tell it to you all, but like,
the dude who ran their hardware just left. The Surface guy just left. He would have been the one to do it.
At best, and this is if they've been working on it already. I think that handheld is 2 years away.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah.
And I would say it's probably more likely 3 or 4. Like, one, like you've seen like with the Steam Deck, one doesn't just show up with a handheld.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they wanted to do that, then you would partner with a new handheld.
PlayStation kind of did, not different handheld.
With the ROG Ally. Well, yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Kind of amazing how that's worked out for them.
I have one.
That's a surprise.
I made one.
Yeah.
Did you see my tablet handheld thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I've been playing a lot of PC because of it.
Yeah. Like I think Xbox was wise to avoid VR. Like that thing kind of maybe has come and gone. I'm not maybe on the PC it's got some life there. But like the handheld thing does feel like a miss. Just try to be everywhere. And anything that they come out with, it'll be after 2 ROG Allies and maybe there's a second Steam Deck and like everybody's kind of like chosen their thing. I don't know. Maybe it's still early. Maybe there's a chance to move in there. But like that you gotta be everywhere. You think so?
There is.
Yeah.
I do. I don't know how interested I am in one.
And in an Xbox handheld?
It just all depends on what they're going for. Like there's a sliding target on what that could be.
Yeah.
It could be like a Portal. It could be like a ROG Ally. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if they're not working with NVIDIA, which by all accounts they're not, it's going to be AMD based.
Yeah.
It's going to be AMD based. If it's going to be like the ROG Ally, then it's expensive.
Yeah.
And like how many people are coming? You know, there's a new ROG Ally coming out. They're about to announce it in a couple weeks. It's like a revision. It's going to have better battery life.
Yep.
I do think the ROG Ally is. I loved having mine. I enjoyed it. I've sold mine since, but I did enjoy it. And I don't think games. Where we are currently with games, I don't think a lot of people. I don't think that's like a casual market. I don't think a lot of people want to play brand new Xbox games at the condition that it would be on a ROG Ally natively.
Right.
Like the games just, they're fine. They're playable. But like for all the stuff that we've given Switch about the games being fuzzy and stuff like that, when you take a brand new modern game, you take Starfield and you try to play it on a ROG Ally and you cut the resolution down to 720 and you lower it all. And, you know, like all you're doing is changing settings. You still have to download the full size of the game. It still has all the textures of full size of the game. Like you're just dropping as many settings as you can to basically run it at its lowest possible state.
Yeah, huge trade-off.
And then you're still running it a lot at 30. Like the games are like, they're crunchy, they're edgy, they're fuzzy, like, you know, they're all over the place. The difference between the Switch and the Ally and the Steam Deck is that people are building the games targeting the Switch. They're building Switch versions of the game.
Yeah.
And unless Xbox wants to get there, which how could they?
Yeah.
How any developer could target a handheld and a console for different versions. Like I don't expect.
Dude, if Series S was holding back games, like what is the handheld going to be?
Exactly. And it's like, how does that work? So the native thing scares me. Now the question is, could they work on like a Portal that also does cloud streaming? It's not just remote play. Could they do something like that? And I think there's something there. Could they try to bridge the gap in the middle? Could they kind of do a little bit of both?
Yeah.
Like maybe some games run natively and some you have to play in the cloud. I could see Xbox having 5 different kinds of handhelds. And it's like, which one do you choose and how applicable is this one to a customer base? I don't know.
That would be interesting. Like, is there different like screens that would be available, or like, just different price points that you could, I don't know. That's a little complicated right out of the gates.
You're thinking at the best subsidized $400.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
$600 or more.
Yeah. I can't see in the chat says I'd be okay with a Portal type device. I would as well, especially if they put it right next to, like, give you 2 devices to buy this holiday season. One is a Portal, like PlayStation has, and the other is the Keystone thing, the cloud streaming
thing. I love because it could be cheap.
Yeah,
you could come in even at $199 if you did price exact competition. You could come in at $199 with a great screen, and the difference being they have a leg up. They don't have to be just remote play. They can have game. Like you imagine, you open your Portal and it's just Game Pass. Like it just opens right into Game Pass.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you could play, and because there have been rumors that Xbox is potentially about to announce that you can play every game you own via the cloud.
Yeah, that
would
be
be
great.
Great time to have a device or something.
Dude,
like that.
It would be like you could actually do those Vita commercials that they were playing Call of Duty on the rooftops. Yeah.
So it'd be a cloud streaming specific device, but you wouldn't be. You have to connect to your console. You have to you could literally connect from anywhere.
It's a no-brainer, I think. Yeah. Like that gets what people want. They want a portable device. They get it at a price point that actually makes sense in that market, and it ties into the cloud thing. Like it checks off all these boxes for them.
And it'd be cheap to make and do because you could already pair with a tablet or a screen you already have.
And you just have to take an Xbox controller, split it in half, and snap it on the sides of this thing. Like, apparently, it doesn't even matter what it looks like.
They thought that was going to be your phone, and I guess maybe the trend now is that people don't want to be doing a whole.
Thank God, the phone. Like, I hated that stuff. It's like
I don't do the phone, but I mean, I am using my iPad. My iPad's it's nice. I love it.
Yeah. Well, you need a screen that's a decent size, and it's just got to balance and fit. Yep. Like, it's got to feel good.
And another thing is with their new controller, wasn't there like some, or at least in that leak, there was like some sort of connect over the internet to reduce latency type of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that could be a part of a Portal-like device.
Totally. Yeah.
You know,
that'd be fun. That'd be great. Like for the Xbox showcase, that would be kind of interesting. I'm waiting to see something.
I wanted to get there for all the doom and gloom that we have.
Yeah.
We do have Hellblade coming, and we do have a showcase coming. And
yes,
I wanted to ask you, do you think they, without maybe remove our Optimus hopeful hats aside, do you think they can turn some of this around?
Well, part of what when we were talking about before, why do this Tango thing now when Hellblade is just about to come out? That does seem like a bummer timing. It does seem like tone deaf and all the things that we've said.
So they've done this
but the Optimus side, like if I'm gonna like turn on my most fanboy hat here, what if that was the end of the bad news and the rest of the year can somehow be Hellblade's amazing, and then the showcase is incredible, and we've got Indiana Jones coming out this year, which is going to be insane, and whatever else has happened. Like, what if
Call of Duty's great?
Call of Duty happens to be awesome.
You have another game, right? It's not just those. You have Stalker.
Yeah, even as I was going off on the rant, I'm like, there's more. I'm missing something in here.
But I think there's one more. There's one. Avowed.
Oh, Avowed. Yes. Like,
I knew there was one more in there. And like, we're hoping for Stalker replaced in Avowed, and Flight Sim, and Indiana. Like, that's a lot for 6 months.
Yeah. Like, what if the thing that I can't even like go full optimist here, because I'm like, but they don't even know if they want to do Call of Duty and Game Pass or not. Like, they're still making up their minds about that. So there's no grand plan. They have to. And like, I'm dead set on that.
I kind of didn't. I've never really believed that once it came out. I think I'm not going to say it's like a clicky article, but like
people were undecided.
It seems like a real easy thing to write.
Yes.
You know, like it can't be disproven. It can't be checked or anything. But like, I firmly don't think if they do that, you're going to turn off. People are going to turn like, and I would be one of them.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have so many people turn so fast.
Yeah.
If you're like, all of our games except Call of Duty or Day One Game Pass,
but
what's the point?
The other thing
are going to cancel left and right.
Well, and how do you balance that with one of the expectations that actually should be landing much sooner, which is all these Activision games that they now have, they're still not on Game Pass, which is fine. I'm okay.
Expect that to be a part of the showcase.
I expect it as well, and maybe that's something I would love for them to have, like that roadmap for the rest of the year, maybe into next year as well. Like, these games are coming in July and August and September and October, leading up to the grand Call of Duty release that launches day and date into Game Pass. What a gigantic thing! I'd love for their
monumental moment.
Totally, like, this is the realization. Like, that just seems.
Like, I do feel, and again, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts per se, but for the amount of reading and the sites that I check and stuff, I think you and I are the only people saying this about Call of Duty. Even on my own podcast, I bring it up, and people just act like people really do act like it's not going to change anything. And I'm like, that's not true.
I feel like, how is that possible?
And
maybe in Xbox's hands, maybe in Microsoft's hands.
It's not going to flip the narrative. And I think people think that.
Not instantly.
One Call of Duty game isn't enough to do that.
Right.
But you do that for 10 years, and that will change the narrative. Like, that's a big deal.
But it's not even just the new games. New games, of course. I'm not denouncing any of that. But like the Game Pass thing and the library, the catalog of games, and like, people love Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare Remastered coming into Game Pass. World at War. Remember that when World War II games were amazing, coming into Game Pass. Like, you have so many beats that you can hit, that's why it's frustrating when these news hits and these game releases happen in such a vacuum. It's like, how are we not on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, regular, whatever it is, having some sort of like big moment for Xbox. Like, get your shit together. It's not just about new game. That's the thing is, you can make old games.
There's a bunch of Tony Hawk,
new.
Crash. There's all kinds of stuff.
Game Pass.
What's the other one? It's an old Activision game that I guess it's like Infamous or something. I never played it. It's like people are talking about it though. It's like
it's like Infamous.
I thought it was like Infamous. I want to say, is it Singularity? Is that the name?
I don't know if that's I don't.
There's a lot of people are like, bring us a new one of these, like remake this game, and I don't know. I never played it, but
there's a big moment that could be had with Guitar Hero. There's so much stuff that I just wish that they would lean into that. And the June showcase is where you do big, huge moments like that. You could have that. What I'm hoping for, and I'm sure we'll be discussing in more detail as we get even closer to the June showcase, is like, what do I need to see in order to be excited? In order for like all of this taint to be washed away, I need to see immediacy from this. Like, and I think you and I are on the same page here. Like my patience is kind of up. I'm so tired of being like, oh, next year, and this isn't a new thing to say, but wouldn't it be great if like that day a Call of Duty game gets dropped into, or some other big Activision game, take your pick, Diablo or some other StarCraft, something about StarCraft happens, like something big with the Blizzard or the Active.
I feel like they're going to do like that big splash screenshot again where there's like 15 games.
That would be amazing. But and not all at once. I don't want everything to get lost. I need it. Like they can't afford that. They have all these gaps in telling us cool things.
But I'm wondering if that's like, when the deal closed, they had their interview and Phil was like, it's going to take some time to do this. Like, one, no, it's not. They're already there. You could just put them in there.
Yeah.
But the reason that I think they're saving it, and the reason they haven't dropped any of them, is I feel like they're readying that splash screen. Here's 20 games in the Game Pass today.
You just have to, like, it's all your eggs in one basket. You hope somebody sees that.
There are so many Call of Duties though that you could kind of do both.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you can have a few.
10 Call of Duties today.
Yep.
And Modern Warfare Remastered drops next month, and
totally.
then Modern Warfare 2, and August is all about Black Ops. Like, there's so many Call of Duty. You could do both.
Totally.
But I think they're just going to do them all. I think they're just going to like hit you with quantity. Here's everything.
Like, they could have. I get it, and that you're probably right. But
I don't want to be right.
Wouldn't it be fun if like Black Ops 2 had like at least a season to exist for us to like all jump into Black Ops 2?
That was my thing. Is I wanted them to release them one at a time because you get everybody playing the same game.
Yes, guide us a little bit, Xbox.
The counter to that is this is the first time that they have a chance to market Call of Duty and Game Pass, and I think they want to make as much noise as they possibly can on the first day.
Yeah.
Like they want it to reach. They want articles. You can play every Call of Duty game ever made by subscribing to Game Pass today. And the new
that is obviously a bigger thing to say than saying Black Ops 2 is available.
That's why I think
today.
They're not going to do that. Yeah.
But I also don't think that saying Black Ops 2 is available today is nothing. It's just like relative to every Call of Duty game is here now. Sure. Like I don't. Yeah.
I like the
conversation.
I like the drip feed. Nintendo would drip feed it, and I like the drip feed. I would just Call of Duty every month. We're all playing a new Call of Duty every month.
It is difficult to maintain attention when, like, because the flip side to my own argument here is that can get stale really quick. Like, oh, another Call of Duty. Oh, True. Another Call of Duty.
I didn't even think about that. You're right.
You totally.
And people already dismiss Call of Duty. Like we see it already. Like I could see that turning on people too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Maybe there is.
If they're included on PC Game Pass, that's a big deal too.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
That is kind of a, you could play them on BattleNet or Game Pass if you link your stuff together. And
but what if they just what if they batch the ones that are not as good? Like you can't give like a moment to Ghosts. You're not going like, all right, for the next 3 months we're focusing on Ghosts. Like
poor Ghosts.
Probably not.
Poor Ghosts.
I know. I remember playing that game, and even one of the last like
I played it on Wii U.
Oh, dude, I played a Call of Duty. Was it Call of Duty on the original Wii? I actually played. I remember Far Cry.
Yeah,
I'll never
War.
Forget. Yes, World at War was on Wii.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, great zombies mode.
You guys need to look at Far Cry 1 on the Wii. It looks like, dude. I thought I thought something was wrong with my Wii. I unplugged it and plugged it back in.
Stingray. Yeah, I played Call of Duty, Black Ops, and Ghost were on Wii U.
Oh yeah,
and like it's been a couple years, but like a couple years ago, you could still find matches in Black Ops.
Dude, that's the whole argument anybody's gonna hitch a ride to go like Call of Duty. It doesn't save your system because it certainly didn't save the Wii U. But like you got to look at those versions of those games, you guys.
Yeah. I'm wondering is that what we're getting on the Switch 2? The Switch 2, Sean. We don't know because
what if they have Call of Duty games over there? I mean, they are.
They will. But here's the thing. I'm not sure if you know this. There is a manifest sheet that is leaked.
Hell yeah.
And it shows the internal parts that the Switch 2 is going to be made of.
Yeah.
To the SKU and the part number. Like we've got the chip, we know the RAM, we know how fast the storage is going to be.
Yep.
It has tensor cores. It has ray tracing cores.
That's crazy. Ray tracing cores. That's crazy, dude. This is the second time Nintendo might get to do this. Where when the NX was a thing, we're like, oh god, I hope it's a handheld. Oh, I hope it's a handheld. It's not going to be a handheld because Nintendo never gives us what we want. We've been saying for the last however many years since ray tracing's been a thing. And Switch 2 is going to have 4K and it's going to have DLSS and it's going to have ray tracing and all this stuff. It might, dude.
Yeah, like, it is. Like by all accounts, it looks like it will. I could care less about ray tracing. But that's just a point to make that this device looks more capable than I ever expected it to be.
Oh, don't get my hopes up. I can't. Because it does seem real. This seems pretty legit.
The thing that you always have to remember with Nintendo is that the Switch is more capable than you would ever believe, but it's underclocked and power constrained.
Yeah, for battery.
So they could do the same thing for this. Yeah. But even if they do, this is still a sizable technological leap from the Switch. Sean, it's got 12 gigabytes of RAM. It's not 16 the Ally has, but again, remember their build games for the Switch. Mm-hmm. The Switch has 4 gigs. It's a significant speed of and I'm going to do this whole thing on check again tomorrow. The speed of the SSD, or it's not even SSD, it's LPDDR5X.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about that. I was talking to Bland. Bland's in the chat.
What's up, Care Bland?
The speed on that storage is really fast.
Yeah.
Like really fast. Not SSD fast, but like kind of. Faster than you could like integrate an SD card into, I think. Makes me wonder, are we getting proprietary memory cards?
Oh.
Like, are they about to pull an Xbox?
Oh, that would be a bummer.
Think about it. Like, you can hook up a hard drive to your PlayStation 5, but you can't play PlayStation 5 games off it because the speed doesn't match. You have to play it off the internal.
Yeah.
So unless there could be, unless there's some technology I don't understand where you can plug in some slow speed thing into a high speed thing and bridge it.
Well, it is weird at that point to not be SSD because there are laptop SSDs, which are much smaller and kind of look like a 3DS cartridge kind of size.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the, I was on Reddit following a thread and one of the people were speculating, like, would they put an M2 in it? And I'm like, so yes, but a couple things. There's a heat part of that. Yeah. It's a big reason why the SSD, that's a big reason why the Steam Deck and the Ally are so big.
Oh, okay.
Additionally to the heat thing, do you think Nintendo is going to release a device that they're actively telling you to crack open and replace an SSD in?
Oh, I'm not thinking. I think like how Xbox did it. You just slide it in.
Like, so that's where I go. And I keep coming back to this idea, like, ooh, should we be thinking about proprietary memory cards?
Yeah. Wait, are you saying that excitedly?
I mean, I'm going to buy one anyway. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not one of those people. It's like, oh, I hate this. Unless it's like a Vita egregious.
That's
then, like, here's your
$200
memory card.
What is it about it that you just can't? Is it just because it's only made for that one thing? You just can't get the scale. Yeah. You can't make enough of them.
And the competition. You want a competitive marketplace. You don't want to just be beholden. That's why, like the Xbox memory cards were so expensive at the start because only the one folks made it. Yeah, they've come down, but you're right. They are still expensive. But to me, I don't know why. Like the 360 was the same way. You had to buy the hard drives and stuff. Like, it just didn't really bother me a whole lot.
Yeah.
The only one that ever bothered me was the Vita, because the Vita's the pricing was outrageous.
Oh, and it didn't come with enough storage.
$200 for like a 16 gigabyte card.
It was
like
crazy.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I eventually, because I loved my Vita, and I eventually did spend a ridiculous amount of money for some storage. But like, I think it's that balance. Like, you got to have. It's sort of like the Series S. They're like, here's a 500 gigabyte console with 300 some odd gigabytes of usable storage, and here's a $200 1 terabyte or whatever.
And that's
300.
That is something else I brought up. Just we're talking about. I'm like, could this be a way of them potentially getting this new cool DLSS tablet device of theirs, get the price down? Maybe the price is $399, but they have like $150 memory card that most people will buy. So like really the price of the consoles like $550 or so. I could see something like that.
Was it the Switch? I'm trying to remember.
Or a lot of people pointed out you could use the SD card slot as like storage, but then when you want to play the game, you have to move.
Move everything around. That's so. You're right. It's so like not. It's not Nintendo.
It's not what they do.
Go manage your storage.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what their storage solution is, and maybe you can still play games off the. Maybe you could play games off the SD card. They just don't play very well. Like I could see that. They'd be like, well, if you don't want to, you can play it off the SD card, but pop in and shit will happen and they won't load as fast.
This is why Nintendo does Nintendo stuff, because as soon as you start getting into like the latest tech, like it just becomes inconvenient for their target market. Like it's as simple as that.
That's why I think we might be looking at proprietary cards, like some sort of slide-in slot or something
to make it easy. Yeah.
Or maybe they have multiple storage model. Maybe there's no storage. Maybe it's like phones. There's no external storage, and you get the 256 model or the 512 model or the 1 terabyte model. And
gosh, that'd be interesting. Yeah,
I could see that too. I don't know, but we'll have to see.
I'm excited. No matter what, like that's the thing. No matter what they do, it's like
I'm there.
I'm totally there. Yeah, which is contrast pretty highly to what we just talked about with Xbox.
Yeah, I can't tell you that I'm going to be on the next Xbox. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I?
Yeah,
that's my biggest thing. Is like I don't understand how, if somebody right now, like if let's 3 years from now we have a head-to-head or they launch a new console, what reasons would you give anybody to buy one over the other?
Yeah,
like what's it going for Xbox right now? What reason would you give them?
Gears.
Yeah, that's one.
That's kind of
that's like their saving grace is that they expect, like we expect them to show a Gears here in a few weeks, and we just because we know and love the Coalition, we expect it to be awesome. Yeah, because that's what they do. Like them and Playground are the only people in my head that have a blank check. I'm like, it'll be great.
Obsidian is there. I think Obsidian is not quite as big.
It'd be great.
I'd love to see Obsidian.
The Coalition, to me, and I know I'm fanboy, but the Coalition doesn't miss.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I don't even fathom that like Halo Infinite could happen to a Gears game. Like, of course not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing is, like Gears came from. I mean, Gears is a really interesting one. It'd be fascinating to kind of like really do a deep dive. And I happen to be thinking about this because I'm reading Cliff Bleszinski's book right now. So I'm thinking about like his upbringing. Cliff Bleszinski, like lead designer on Gears, Unreal, Jackrabbit. Cliffy B is, and a lot of people like to hate on this guy. I think he's a fascinating dude, and he's made some of my favorite games of all time. And what I'm getting at kind of here is like, where is this pipeline of game developers? Where are they coming from? I don't think we're in the age anymore of like the Rockstar game devs, the John Romeros, the John Carmacks, the Hideo Kojimas. Like that era seems to have come and gone. Like maybe Ken Levine is still kind of around there, like to a certain degree. But I think maybe that has something to do with the lack of like creativity and surprise these days. Because I don't know that these game ideas are like harvested in the same way that they were before. Where did BioShock come from? And where did like Mass Effect came from? A couple doctors from Alberta who like had been doing Dungeons and Dragons games on a computer role-playing game. They did things differently. I don't see that anywhere. I'm not expecting a game to come out of nowhere and blow me away like that happened all the time in the 360 and the PS3 eras. Where did Uncharted come from? That came out of nowhere. And when we think about like the future of Xbox and PlayStation, it's like, well, hopefully the next Gears game is good. that's part of it. But PlayStation 4, you look at Ghost of Tsushima, you look at Horizon Zero Dawn, you got a bunch of those new franchises that were amazing right out of the gates. And all we can talk about, I think, in Xbox land is like, hopefully the next one of this series that we know about is good. And
Fable.
Yeah, and that's
Perfect
great. That should be part of it. But this is where I become kind of like unfair in what I want out of Xbox. It's like, show me something I've never seen before, because that's
Redfall.
I guess that was their shot. That was their try at it. But I had seen stuff like that before. Starfield is close.
So I feel like I was going to ask, because I feel like you're kind of on two sides here. I think a part of your conversation is about new IP.
Yep.
And then a part of your conversation is also about like a new style. And on the style side, I wanted to think about like the type of game. I'm wondering if it's more that maybe that's just a time and place. Like in that era of games with the technology we had, we were capable of delivering things that you never saw before.
I kind of refuse to accept that we've seen everything that there is to be made at this point.
I don't think everything. So then that's why I want to like maybe just try to draw a line, because you're associating a brand new IP that does things we've seen before as that breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're pulling these old examples of the first time you ever saw these types of games and they blew your mind because they were new. So there's like a novelty and then there's a new IP, right? And both of them are your refreshing. Like we've seen games be Ghost of Tsushima. That's not new.
Sure.
You know?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The difference is that it's the style in the IP was new.
Yeah, and it's funny that
But
like that's the progression.
We've played that before.
In the 360, maybe it was everything was new. Like the style of game, the IP was new, all was good.
The 360 got us to an era of video games where that type of game became possible.
Yes. Yeah.
And now we've seen just a lot of those types of games, but you can still mix off of it because you have new different IP, different styles, different takes on that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean,
go ahead.
I still think we're getting those things. Like Breath of the Wild was one of those moments. You know, like
Nintendo's doing it.
That's the hype of game that we've always had, and they did it again. I mean, Gears is extremely Gears 5 is extremely different than Gears 2.
Yeah.
You know, Gears 2 blew your mind back in the day, and then Gears 5 blew my mind because it's like it's set in the same universe, of course, but those are not the same type of games.
Sure.
Structurally, very different.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think I definitely know what you're saying is you just want something new. You're craving.
These games are born out of like insanely imaginative minds. Is kind of I guess kind of what I'm trying to say.
The ultimate take that I was going to add to you is I think a lot of that is happening in the indie and AA space.
Sure. Yeah,
that's
risky.
where that is now, because at the AAA level, they just apparently are adverse to taking that big of a risk.
Yeah. The interesting
the games cost too much money to,
Yeah,
you get Pentiment.
Yeah. I guess kind of like maybe another like pivot on this is like id Soft, because where did Gears came again? I'm reading Cliff Bleszinski's book right now and thinking about like where that came from was Epic had this sort of like mission and mantra to have the Unreal Engine change the industry. Like that was going to be not only going to change video games, but also be like this $1 trillion industry for themselves. Like that was going to be how Epic was going to make their billions of dollars, was Unreal Engine. And so they needed a showcase for that engine. In a similar way, Xbox and PlayStation need showcase games for their consoles. What's interesting about id is their technology kind of checks off all those boxes. Like, can you have an Unreal Engine competitor? I'm just like put everything on Unreal. But what if something came out of id that was a new standard, a new engine for other games to be played, and the first time you ever saw it was from an Xbox game? That'd
be cool.
Like that's kind of, I want to flesh that idea out a little bit more, but that's kind of what I mean. Like it's more nascent than just do something bigger and flashier. Like it actually is about the technology that is integrated from the engine through the console into the game that actually ties into the rest of the experience. And maybe because John Carmack and team aren't at id anymore, that's not a possibility. But dude, I'm an old man, and I remember when every game was based off the Quake engine. And that was a huge deal.
To your point, I mean, that is UE5. We haven't seen a bunch of UE5 games yet, but they're coming.
Right. And that's why Epic is so successful.
Immortals,
yes.
AVM and stuff, but we'll have Hellblade in this next Gears. We'll probably...
Sadly, Fortnite is their showcase for UE5 right now. Which
there's a part of me, a lot of what you're talking about is, you know, especially when I hear you talk about the old stuff. You're like, man, where did BioShock come from? And it blew my mind. And where's the creativity? And it's like, the first thing I thought of is like, yeah, all of that's in Fortnite and Roblox.
Yeah.
And like what they're doing, they're letting people make their own games. And like, where's that next wave of people? Like, you know, this stuff, like I played Lego Fortnite the other day and was just clicking through like the game experiences and the tile menu and things you can do. You can play football and rocket racing and Guitar Hero. And
so I'm just playing the wrong games.
It's insane.
Yeah.
What they're doing. But it, like, because it's not in, to be honest, we're just too old for that.
Yeah.
Like that's not our space. But my son is like he knows all about it. Like I'm trying to figure out how to even navigate the UI, and he's telling me all the secret sauce. And you get into it and you realize like there's a shit ton of creativity going on down here.
Dude.
You know, no wonder it's attracting like
and the show. Damn it. I think you're probably right. That sucks. And because it can't be the same because that's not how things work. But it is showing up in this way, this creativity, this ingenuity, driving things forward. It just shows up in a different game, different genre, different space altogether.
I joked with my wife about this last night. I have a couple interns from Georgia Tech that are working for me at work now. And yesterday we sat down and have a meeting, and you know, I'm showing them some of the code designs and stuff that I did and why we did it, and explaining to them because that's their role, is they're going to learn from me and do some of these things for for Georgia Tech. And they hit me with this, Sean. They go, I'm just talking maybe 20 minutes or so, and they go, how long have you been doing this? And I go since about 2008. And they go, wow, that was a long time ago. And I was like, what the fuck? When did that become a long time ago? Like when you get into Fortnite, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, I'm way out of the picture. Like here I am thinking I'm on the cusp. And there is something, I do think there's something to be said about that space that we exist, that gaming, Twitter, AAA, console war, IGN, that thing, like we've all kind of aged together.
Yeah.
And I do think there's like a whole other fucking gaming space. There's a whole gaming sphere that's going on without all of us.
Dude.
You know, and it's very mobile and it's very Fortnite and it's very TikTok and it's very YouTube, and they've got their own shit. Like they could care less about Tango and who's closing who and who bought Call of Duty. Like they give no shits about all of that.
What a humbling moment this is. Because I've always been aware that, you know, I've talked about this many times. Like there are gigantic streamers who play Fortnite and Roblox to
millions,
millions of people and never heard of them.
Don't
like
even
these people with gigantic audiences and communities. Somehow that ripple has never reached my orbit. Like it's just not there. And I've always known that, but it wasn't until I started complaining about like, where's the ingenuity? Where's the creativity? Where's the game changing stuff? It's like, it's just over there. It's not just because that's deeper than a game being popular. Yep. But of course, where the money is, that's where the smart people are. And
what did you play last night?
Stardew Valley.
That's where it is. It's these games, and there's a lot of pessimism about these. It's these games that have become bigger than the platform, bigger than the console. Like they're their own thing. They're their own entity.
Yeah.
They have their own communities. They're like self-growing and they're doing their own things. You know, I think I would count Stardew Valley as one of those. My daughter has played like 1,000 hours Stardew Valley. She didn't play any games.
Yeah.
But it's endless. She doesn't want to play anything. Like that is her game. It just keeps her forever. You know, there's a pessimism of like, or cynicism of like, what do our traditional game methods, how do they find those people moving forward?
Yeah.
You know, it's not just Xbox is not selling consoles. The consoles are kind of flat across the board. Even as well as the PlayStation 5 is selling, it's not selling the way PlayStation wants it to. It's not selling like it did last gen.
Yeah.
There seems to be just less demand right now. And it's not just because
that's
people
a scary thought. Yeah, that's starting to.
It's because they're playing PCs, they're playing tablets, they're playing phones, it's because it's more ubiquitous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like on the dawn of the Wii U, you might remember this in the 3DS, there was like this big red wave fear mongering of how everything was going to become mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Like mobile was going to take over everything, right? And then we got to a space where like consoles took off and people were like, mobile's dead. And the only thing they realize is that generationally, mobile, like it's all just becoming homogenized.
Yeah.
It's not that we're turning things off to play mobile. It's that they're all just becoming the same thing.
Right.
And it's kind of like the devices, you can pick any one of them. You can play Fortnite on all of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's, yeah.
Well, again, old man moment here. If only there was like a season of the year where all the consoles got together and celebrated what makes consoles fun and special and told you all about the games that were coming out on Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo all at the same time.
Of course, there is, Sean. Summer Games Fest.
Summer Game. Oh, how could I forget? Summer Games Fest.
SGF.
Yes. SGF. Jeff. SGF.
I'm going to miss E3 so much. I'm very proud now that it's a couple years removed, and I felt the nostalgia start to creep around, just like the Wii U.
Yep.
People are starting to come back around, start talking about how they miss it. I'm happy to say that I carried that flag the whole time.
Same.
I was never, ever one of those
I'm still calling this year E3
needs to go away. How dare you people? You have no idea. Appreciate what you don't have, what you had until it's gone.
Oh, man. Yeah, my comment, people just repeating whatever because they don't have an original thought in their mind. Just they get these things that they hook onto and they just like say it and say it and say it until, all right, hooray, E3's dead. It's like, are you happy now? This is better? We're better here?
Yeah.
This is great.
Garrett, the Wii U's kind of taken off on the secondhand market. Not sure if you've witnessed it.
Is it really?
It kind of is. I brought it up on Shack for multiple weeks. Now, since they've turned things off, prices are starting to tick up. We've had multiple people either in Discord or come to me privately and were like, how much should I get? Like, and I'm not talking like $80 like it used to be. People are like, hey, should I buy this Wii U for $260?
Okay.
And I'm like, no, you should not for $260. But like, yeah, should you get one? Yeah, you should. And the game prices are going up. I've shared there's multiple Reddit threads.
Yeah.
People are like, I got a Wii U last time. I'm like, now you fuckers come around.
Interesting. I'm selling all this stuff, man. Maybe I should be looking at my Wii U game collection.
Yeah, let's get off of the. You didn't talk about us. I've had people send me screenshots. Apparently, you're selling things. Do you sell that 3DS for like $1,000?
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
The Yoshi one is still here.
I love it.
This one on
eBay, the Majora one.
The Majora Mask went. It was.
That's amazing. I'm so happy.
Plus like 150.
I mean, I hate it, but I love it.
I never opened it. I didn't like.
How much in total have you taken in from the shelf things? Shelf still looks as full as it.
Dude. Thank you for saying that because that's kind of the whole. It's a great realization for me. Is I can sell off a bunch of this stuff and I barely notice. Yeah. I think there's a couple things. eBay takes a whole ton of fees, which I was not really anticipating.
What's the split like?
It depends on what the thing is, but for
consoles, it's a sliding scale, and it's how much it is.
Yeah, so it's like 13.25% for the 3DS, which is pretty.
What was that off of? Yeah, what's 13% at 800?
It was over $100. It was like $130 or something like that. Which stings, and then it's shipping and all this other stuff. So it's I'm not like rolling in. I'm not what's his name, Scrooge McDuck or anything.
Sure.
But the goal here is really just to tackle credit card debt.
You've got your brand new Switch paid for.
No, this is getting up to zero. This is working my way up to zero. To be totally,
I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm wanting. I don't want to change it off here because I want to keep talking about this gaming stuff. But like my daughter's going to college next year.
Oh yeah.
And she's like in her final year of high school, and I'm in that boat where. Like I've just been floating a bit more debt than I'd like to be.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to so I've been looking around at like how can I, consolidate and move some of this around to just be more ready for those midnight calls from college.
Exactly.
Like, Dad, I need some help.
There's a grand plan. We could be debt free pretty soon. Like cars, credit card, consumer debt,
house?
Not house.
Okay.
Not house.
Like Jesus, dude, Sean, you live in a different bracket than I do. That's for
certainly
sure.
not. Certainly not the house. But like I drive my car's from 2011. Like it was $5,000. Like it's there's choices that are made here, and yeah, I've sold I think 4 or 5 3DSs anywhere between $650 to almost $900. So I've put $2,500 into debt from selling stuff on eBay and Craigslist and whatnot. Still more stuff to go. But it feels good. It feels like I don't need these things. I'm happy with the price that I'm getting them for. And it's interesting because there's so much volume that I can take a bath on one of the things if it doesn't auction up to a great price, but another one will. So it's this weird kind of like mini economy thing that's happening.
I've bought and sold stuff on eBay for 20 years.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm getting it. So it's been the one thing that's surprising me is I've got a Spider-Man PS4 Pro that I've seen sell for a good price, and it's not moving at all. Actually, I've had to relist it a couple times, so I might take that off for a little bit. I'm ready to sell my Series S, but so is everyone else. These things are flooding the market. Now is not the time to make money off of a Series S.
Well, here's the Series S. It's like the old Wii. Like its entire point of its pricing and everything is to be that option. So I don't think we'll see a day where the Series S goes up.
Probably not. Yeah. So I might just end up plugging it back in somewhere.
They'll just keep either releasing new ones or reversions, and every time they do, that model will become the new one, and it just tanks the rest.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. But the Wii U could be there, and every once in a while, I just kind of like spin around in my chair and look what's back there and go like, what else? What else do I need?
Do you have the Wind Waker one?
The game?
No, the console.
No, I never liked No, I didn't like all the designs on the game pads and any of the Zelda Wii U ones.
That seems to be the one that's somewhat in demand.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that thing.
And especially because we had somebody they were looking at buying one of those, and I was like, "Yeah, don't do that." And what I offered to him, I was like, "Buy it in pieces."
Yeah.
He's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "You can get a console for like $50. You can get a gamepad separately, and just pair them together."
Good point. That's
like, you don't buy them together. Buy them pieces.
What a pro!
And you get a Wii U for like $80.
Yeah.
But the Wind Waker one, and you can buy the Wind Waker gamepad and have a black console and say you have the Wind Waker system, because it's the same. It's just the gamepad.
Yeah.
No,
I got we have two Wii U's. Neither of them were really all that. So the one was bundled with Mario Maker 2.
You got to hack the bad boy. That's what you got to do.
So one of my Wii U's is broken. I can't boot it, and I've tried to replace the disk drive on it. I've given up on that. So the second one, I might just hack it at this point.
That's what I'll never get rid of mine because it's beautiful.
I'm kind of with you. Yeah.
It's so gorgeous and hacked, and I can play GameCube games on it, and it's a nice little, I love firing it up every now and again.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And if we don't get Wind Waker, by God, I'm probably going to replay Wind Waker. I keep kicking it down the road, wanting to play it on my Switch. But
I need inverted controls. I can't play it. Yeah, the Wii U. There's so many things to plug in. You need so many you need the cradle for the gamepad, and you don't necessarily need the sensor bar for the Wii.
When you hack it, if you hack it like I did, you need an external hard drive and stuff too. There's more.
Perfect.
It's a whole octopus of things.
I know. You sit there, like, remember the old cabinets that you'd have for your sound system? I don't know if you ever because the amplifier was different from the equalizer and the cassette deck and
That's exactly what my little shelf over there looks like. I've got consoles and wire. Don't pull it away from the wall.
Oh, that's so.
There's all kinds of stuff back there.
Exactly.
The reason that the bottom of my entire console display, the reason that they all have buckets is to hide all the cables that are just wired back there.
you got to figure out something because we're all facing the same challenge with that. At one point, we had every retro system plugged in and ready to go. We had switchers and stuff, like all the.
I have a switcher. I have a switcher.
But it was the power blocks that I couldn't handle.
I bought a gigantic 50 port.
Yeah. Things that are built for people's for garages and stuff.
Sitting on the floor over there behind.
You have to.
Everything is plugged in there.
And they have half a foot in between the outlets. Yeah, you need all the space you can get.
That thing alone cost me $60 when I was putting all that together. Just that one thing.
Yeah, you have to.
But I've got my Series X, my Super Nintendo Classic, my Wii U, my 64,
plugged in and ready to go.
And
yeah.
And I wanted to say it used to be my PlayStation Mini, then it was my PlayStation 4, and I think I have just a freestanding HDMI port.
Yeah.
Oh, my Switch dock. Yeah, that's the other one. My Switch dock is there. So they're all wired there, and I have a switcher, and the switcher automatically switches depending on what turns on.
Yeah.
So you turn on one and it flips over. And
yeah, that's nice. I'm just thinking, I don't know why off the top of my head, this PS4 Pro, one of the biggest reasons I don't really want to play it is because it runs off an old, like, spinning hard drive. Can you replace that with a SSD?
Mm-hmm. You can.
Does that make a difference? Does that actually like work? It should?
Yeah, you'll have faster load times. You're not going to like a night and day difference because it's still on the same bus.
Right. Yeah,
but yeah, it does make a difference.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can pull that cage out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which. Yeah, you can pull the cage out and you can seat an SSD in there. I think you have to have like an enclosure.
Yeah.
And then you can put that thing back in there.
Huh.
I don't know how the Pro did it. Like I'm thinking of the OG PS4. I know you can put an SSD in the OG, and I'm sure you can do it for the Pro too.
Interesting. I'm just like staring. It's like right over here.
And I think you could get away with like, what's the other one? Not the SSD, but like what was the technology before SSD?
I actually don't know. From between spinning SSD and then there was NVMe. I'm talking about like the sort of plain Jane SSD. I don't know what else to call it.
Where are you at, Bland? I know you know this. There's a cheaper one. It's like SSD, but not quite. SATA. That's
what I mean.
You could get a SATA drive. Yeah, you could get a SATA drive and put that in there, and it's not nearly as much as like an SSD.
Yeah. I have a couple of those lying around. I just don't know how big they are.
I had a SATA drive connected to the Series X, and for like a year, you could play Xbox Series X version games off the SD.
Yeah.
Off the SATA.
Yeah, because they have like 480 megabits per second,
and then they just stopped. They just turned it off one day. They're like, you can't do this no more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like it's not even close. It's like 10 times slower, but it was still 10 times faster than the spinning ones. That might make it just usable. I don't know if I have time or if I really need to. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to go back to.
I know.
The store is not great, and it's like this Frankenstein thing of like it is what it used to be, but like also the stuff they built for PS5, like that's still there too. So it doesn't really run very well, and
yeah,
kind
of can't believe it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray in it. That
if you ran the store off of like your phone, if you downloaded everything you needed from your phone,
sure,
or if you didn't have to download a bunch, you just trigger it to the PS4, you'd be okay.
Yeah. I've got a few PS4. I still had a bunch of games on disc, but probably
every now and again, Jack will pull mine out because I have the Uncharted one.
Yep.
And every now and again, he'll pull it out and want to hook it up and play something. But most of that stuff has come to PC since.
Yeah. I love the PS4, man. I've even been denouncing the PS5 right now. It like a lot of it is the console itself and the controller. Like I adored the PS4. I was all in.
Console.
Really PS3, Vita, PS4. Like I was an unrecognizable gamer, like to most people now. You wouldn't even recognize me back then. And I just think the PS5 just looks stupid. Like it just comes down to that. Like I think that thing looks
I think
dumb.
The Slim did a lot for it. I still don't like the disc model with the pregnant like bump out the side. Like but the Slim model with just the digital, the disc, like I'm good with that one. Like that one's good.
Yeah, I kind of
want. I prefer the Pro go back to like a flat horizontal.
Yes.
PlayStation. I would like that.
Me too. Yeah, I thought they were, and it was the same with the PS3. Like I didn't like that.
But I'm not
PS3.
particularly interested in a PlayStation 5 Pro. Like my only interest, like if they had a brand new, this thing that I brought up on the podcast this past week is there have been rumors all year that they're making an Astrobot game.
Yeah.
Which I hype in on because making fun of Dev on our predictions show, I told him there might be an Astrobot game. Mm-hmm. So I'm just kind of hoping I fall into being right on this one.
Nice.
But I also love Astrobot. So in my mind, I'm like, if we see a showcase where they show me an Astrobot game that looks like Mario Odyssey or something, like I might need to get in. But I would not get in with the Pro. Like I'm not going to like spend $700 for one, like I would be trying to get in on the ground floor, bottom.
What would you want to see? Like PlayStation says they've got a Pro and this is the game. This is the first game. There's always going to be that one.
Yeah. I mean, I guess is it too soon for another Gran Turismo? Like that wouldn't be the one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Like that. Yeah. Check off the racing game box.
I don't think there's going to be one. I think they're just going to, I think there will be a game or two that they show, but I don't think it's going to be like a Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon, Last of Us type of thing.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get by with like their new thing.
The games you have are look better. Dude, that was a Series X launch.
I know. Yeah.
And I was here for it. I thought that was fine. Like I kind of like this.
I think that's what they're going to go. That like their thing is that they have a new model.
Yeah.
It's not going to be so much about the game.
They don't have to. Like they it's a position play. They can just like launch a new thing. People can get the latest, greatest. They can get all the media that comes along with games that operate on both Xbox and PlayStation.
The
now
tech
look
leaks
that much
for
better.
it sound very enticing. Like if you're into the PlayStation stuff, you should be very excited because it looks like you're going to get. It might be like one of the best ray tracing machines to date. Yeah, like even compared to PCs and
I don't
stuff.
Want ray tracing. I just want.
But if you've got the ray tracing and the performance, when you do side by sides, it might be
maybe
like there's a potential that
play Starfield.
If they're upscaling and their ray tracing tech is as good as they say it is, there's potential that they could have like a $600 PlayStation 5 that compared to like a $3,000 PC, like it's right next to or better.
Yeah.
You know, there's something to be said there. But I don't need that from a PlayStation.
I've always kind of felt with PlayStation first party games that even with these consoles being so similar as far as like the tech that's in them, Series X and PS5, I've always felt like maybe it's like art. Maybe I don't know exactly what it is, but games just seem to pop better on a PlayStation. I feel like that's almost always been the case. Just I don't know, like art style they crank more out of it. You know, like Halo Infinite I think is a decent example of this. Why doesn't that look like incredible?
Well, I think that's
looks good.
That's a whole.
I know.
I mean, it's a developer thing. That's 343's problem. But the other part of this dilemma that you're talking about is PlayStation is the targeted platform. Everything is developed for that one because that's where the majority of the customers are.
Yeah.
And then they
port also from there.
They're combing through every little detail like they do on the targeted platform.
But even for the first party perspective, I guess is, and again,
on that side, 343 Halo Infinite, that's a 343 thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's studio's problem and their lack of developers or their contractors or whatever the hell happened to that game. That's on them. You know, but that's not the same thing with like Gears of War. Gears of War is going to show out.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what they do.
I think people underappreciated Gears and how good it looked. Gears 4 and 5.
I agree with you. I've been saying that the whole time.
Yeah, it's pretty dang good.
And it's time for Gears to come back, you know.
Save us all.
They need it. They need it in the worst way. I think it's next year. It's still a year away.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably the fall after this fall game.
Yeah. How many anniversaries has it been? Can we get an anniversary edition of these games?
I don't think Perfect Dark will be out before then either.
Scrap it.
Like they've had all these. I'm with you.
Honestly, I feel like that somehow that I know we just talked about how awful it is to close down games and projects and everything.
Nobody would have been nearly as hurt if they said, look, this isn't coming together and we're killing the initiative instead of Tango.
Yeah.
That's the, and I don't want to go back to it, but like how many games could Tango have made before Perfect Dark or Skyrim comes out?
4.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we're going to keep plodding along with these guys.
Yeah. You don't know when to hold them. You got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them.
They've made Ghostwire and Hi-Fi Rush, and Compulsion has yet to release anything.
Yeah, I know. This is what I mean. I don't understand.
That's nothing against South of Midnight. Trailer looked cool, but like you've literally done nothing at all.
Yeah.
You haven't released one game.
Well, they will.
Ninja Theory at least had
they have to release it and then they'll get closed, Donnie. That's how this works. You release the game and then you get shut down.
Terrified about Ninja Theory's future.
Well, guess what, Donnie? We get Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 in September. And I'm stoked about that.
I will be there.
So will I. That'll be the one game I buy this year.
I do want to end because this is not end, but doom and gloomy. I started PSVG by saying this, and I think it's important. There's a lot of hyperbole and hot takes going on right now. Xbox will be fine. Xbox will continue to Xbox. They still have Call of Duty. They have Gears. I don't know what else they have. I suspect Contraband and a bunch of back-compat games, and they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, they release a bunch of good games and people like them, people will be okay. Tango is not the end-all, be-all for them. It hurts for me, but most people do not care. My son doesn't know who Tango is. The guy at my work has no idea.
Yeah.
I started explaining to him, he doesn't know who Shinji Mikami is. He doesn't know what the Evil Within is. He doesn't know what Tango Gameworks is.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little bit of we are so close to it that it feels like a bigger deal than I think it is.
Probably.
You know, I get Arcane getting closed down. I don't like it, but I get it.
Yep, same.
You can't make Redfall and expect nothing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the other ones, like ZeniMax folding in Roundhouse, them closing Alpha Dog. I liked Doom, the Mighty Doom game. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see that stick around, but they've got King.
Yep.
You know, like their mobile site's pretty well covered. So they've got Call of Duty Warzone now, and so like I get it. They're okay.
Yeah.
So there is a big part of me that's like we have a big reaction just because we have a strong connection and a love to this, but it is
sensitivity is high just in general.
Yeah, it is.
Helldivers had its whole thing.
There's not and there's not a lot. They don't have a lot of equity to borrow from.
Yeah,
that's another big part of this. It's not like they released Hellblade and it was on fire. They released another game that was on fire. Like they've borrowed against this equity for years now, and like the bank is out of credit.
Yeah,
you have no more credit to borrow.
Yeah, well, the credit score is bad. Interest rates are high.
Yep.
This is gonna hurt. Choose wisely. Yeah, maybe you should start selling all your stuff on your shelf. Xbox.
But I do think no,
actually don't.
No, not at all.
That was more of a me thing.
I know.
Selling my stuff.
I wonder what a skateboard signed by Phil Spencer goes for now. You think he'd be selling low? You think he'd be selling low in the market?
Yeah, but now's not the time.
No, not so much. Like
people are nuking his Fallout 76 mini camp or whatever.
I still like Phil. I'm not one that wants him fired.
I
do want to see some sort of accountability.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that after years and years and years of false promises and failed launches and failed visions, that all of the people that we know have seemingly all been promoted.
Yeah.
It's not that they're in the same position. They've all got raises. They've all moved up. It's like somebody explained that to me.
Yeah, and normally I don't love the general sort of like mob mentality around like just general anger at executive
well, if members. The studios are going to be held accountable, it'd be nice to see the leadership held accountable.
Now I'm there. Like I haven't been, but I'm there now for sure. Something has got to change. There's got to be somebody in there that knows what's going on.
And you all to accept it and acknowledge it and say move on together. When you start firing other people, eventually the gun starts to turn.
Mm-hmm.
You can only do that so many times before everybody starts looking at you. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I got two guys that I would replace instantly if I ran Xbox.
We didn't even talk about the fact that they're their only Japanese studio and they've been talking about having one forever.
Oh yeah, I mean, and like all the
really pisses me off.
This leads into who I would let go yesterday. Matt Booty would be gone so fast. He'd be gone so fast. Talking about what games you need and the footholds you need in what regions, and then you do all this stuff.
We need more hi-fi rushes, Sean.
Oh, if only there was a way for that to happen. Who could we find to make?
Who could we
those games
to make us a hi-fi rush game?
Well, while I'm at it, I might as well balance it out. Matt Booty and Aaron Greenberg are gone in my mind. Gone. I think the marketing is abysmal for Xbox.
It's really missed the mark. On Aaron, I agree 100% with you, Matt Booty.
Great guys, wonderful people.
Well, there's a part of me that wants to say on the Greenberg front is how much of that is them not doing a good job or versus them trying to message what they can and with everything that's going on above them. Like, how much are they just caught in the crossfire? Like, their job is to build hype and do marketing, and they try. They're like, no, we love Hi-Fi Rush. And then the executives close Tango. You know, it's like, how much is that on them or the decisions being made around them?
Well, what is messaged out around this is marketing and communications. That like, how do you make like lessen the blow? That is his role. But my commentary on that is less about what's happened this week and more about just like,
I get that.
What overall position does Xbox hold in people's minds? That's his job.
Yeah. Public opinion. The QR rating is very low.
The approach, and I've been loud about this as well, the approach that Aaron Greenberg leads is a grassroots approach for a billion-dollar industry. You work with content creators to do the marketing for you, and that's it. And Nintendo's the polar opposite. It is so hard to work with Nintendo as a content creator because they want to hold on to their message. They're so certain about how to market and hype and create a position in a
Not
consumer's
to borrow
mind.
a pun, they are very direct. And not not even in the direct. Like they're just very direct. When they speak, it means something. They're not speaking all the time. Most of the time, they're very silent.
Very intentional.
Frustrating. But when they speak, it matters, and everybody listens.
That to me is all. It's all Aaron. All the.
This is Furukawa. That's all that anybody needed. This is Furukawa in a tweet.
Yep.
You have an entire not an entire group, because there's tons of people with Switches have no idea what's happening, but for the people that do, for all the journalists and everything that follow and do that, the marketing folks, like that machine, they all know exactly what happened this week with Nintendo, and they did it in a tweet.
Well, and Xbox tried it as well. You can see on their timeline, like I think they said May 21st to Hellblade, and then just a picture. It's like, guys, like it just, it's not it. It's not the same. It's not the same. And they're so uncertain about it at this point. They needed to have learned by now how, like, the directs.
I get it. I don't think there's a whole lot of defending them and you can do.
Yeah,
you're right.
It sucks.
And that's the thing, is they just haven't earned it.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's why people are angry at the executives. I don't think it's so much. And now there's definitely, I don't even call them bad.
Some people just hate C-suite people.
Yeah. And
they hate the man.
There are people that have just turned on Phil. Yeah. And the problem is he's been up there for what, 10 years?
Yeah. Yeah. Probably.
How much better position are they in today than they were 10 years ago?
Well, in a lot of ways, it feels like almost exactly the same. Obviously very different. But the
revenue's much higher.
Totally. The public
without
perception
Activision,
is what I mean.
The revenue's higher. Like
totally.
Their revenues for the last, there is another part of this when you're talking about layoffs and everything. A lot of this is COVID. Nobody wants to hear it, but it is true. That's just true. Everybody's scaled up during COVID, and now people aren't buying and playing as many games. So now they're scaling back down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it sucks. But a showcase, maybe this time next month. What is it? What's today? The 11th? What do we got?
I would love nothing more than us to get together and be excited about it again.
Please.
I didn't throw out my Xbox onesie. I'm still here. I'm not getting rid of my console. I still like the console. I still have my controller.
Yep.
Like I still like this. I'm not ready to quit. Now I am starting to think about what would that be?
Yeah.
Titanfall I'm starting
3.
to and I'm just saying, if they close Ninja Theory, if that happens, that might be it.
That's the thing. We're on a razor's edge here, man. Like we could be pulled.
Yeah, see, that's it.
It's a tug of war.
It. I am actually to the point now where I'm like, how much more can I, at least without giving me something in return?
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's something immediate.
These games are so worth it. It's, I don't like it, but I'm okay. Yeah. But I'm getting to the point now where it's like, okay, I might just stop doing all of this Xbox stuff. But I'm still here. I still believe in Hellblade. I still believe in Fable. I believe in Gears. The Coalition and Playground, I swear, I've said this for you, they can't miss. I think Fable and Gears of War are going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I think the Indiana Jones looks as good as you probably could hope for from them.
Yeah.
I'm not that into Indiana Jones, and I want to play it because I thought it looked pretty good. So
looked good. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the world to expect from Valve. That's the one. I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know what this is going to be. Is it
I have high hopes.
It's going to be mid. I don't know.
Yeah, I have high hopes. Garrett Bland, no one is safe. Jesus.
How could they be?
Yeah.
Except for why is 343 safe?
Seriously. Yeah.
Like
343, like Halo could still exist. Well, maybe not Infinite so much. That would put it in a precarious spot if you just shuttered 343 and gave Halo to someone else.
And I know, and to a point, they didn't. They did change a lot of leadership, and they did cut a lot of folks there after Infinite. Yep. So they got their own. But when they talk about moving resources and saving the bottom line, and it's not them so much as the industry. 343 is where you'd save money. That would change your margin. The Coalition is where you these are big studios. They make a lot. They take a lot. That's what I mean by Tango's a rounding error compared to these guys.
Yeah, but it's
Tango's nothing compared to.
You get rid of it, but what do you replace it with? That's why it's an easy decision. That's why it's the decision that was made. It's easy. Yeah. But unfortunately, there are implications there. Again, it's the region thing. They're not in Japan anymore. It's more than just, they didn't need another Evil Within. Nobody was waiting for that. So it's not.
I was.
I mean, I shouldn't say nobody.
I know what you mean, but
you know what I mean.
I just wanted to be said.
Gary, we talked about that at the beginning.
We were waiting for it. I would have loved. Could you imagine the showcase, Call of Duty, Gears of War, and Evil Within 3 is
Dude,
in like
I
all
love it.
this. The title screen, we are in development. Evil Within, like, oh my god, let's
Give me
go.
that and close out State of
Give me
Decay
that and
3.
Exactly. Why are we
Let me
doing
trade.
State of Decay?
I know. Yeah. Cool. Wow.
Cool.
I'll keep selling stuff. That'll keep me going.
Yeah, the week, it's not a great week to be us, and that's okay. We
What
can
if they
weather
cancel
the
Fable to
storm.
focus on
We were
Forza?
there.
Yarden, what are you talking about? No.
Dude, if they cancel Fable,
Oh, can you imagine?
not only would that be in for me, I would make a moment to prove it. Like, I would videotape me smashing the
Yeah, I
console
think
or
I'm with you
something.
on that. Like
Like,
that's
no,
too far.
no, I'm not trading the console.
You did it
I'm
to
making
Fable
sure,
twice.
I'm making sure nobody ever plays this console again.
They kill Fable twice. They can't. They're not allowed to do that.
I would lose it. I would lose my mind.
Oh man, they give us something to talk about, I guess. But we also play games that are fun.
I'm optimistic that 45 days from now, we feel better about it.
Me too. Yeah.
And I'm optimistic that a year from now, we're talking about Xbox being in a different position because for once in the last 5 years, they've lined up a set of games that have released on time and have been good.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're about to get to.
I would really like, this is, nobody's asking for this, and I'm sure you'll shut this down as well. But I would I would really like a Xbox Series X Slim. And it is like kind of
no, I'm with you.
Remarkably
We talked
thin.
about this before, didn't we? You want it to be thin. See,
like,
I don't want it to be thin. I want you to chop it in half.
Yeah. Like I want it to be striking. Like the
I want it to look like a GameCube.
Yes.
But it's the Series X.
Oh, I see. Like horizontally, just chop it in. I see.
Just chop it in half, and it's the cube.
Yeah.
It's smaller. Is the cube. I don't even know if that's possible with the heat in the car. I don't even know, but like, ever since I've saw it, like there was a mock once of a digital, like a streaming box.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a GameCube, but a Series X, and it was going to be a streaming only console. And I was like, sign me I want 3 of them.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I mean, I feel I'm going to listen back to this and just count all the times that I'm such an old man reminiscing about the good old days. But like the first time I saw the One X, dude, like that was the most beautiful console I've ever seen. And the PS4, right along the original PS4. I'm like, man, those consoles looked great. I thought they looked really good.
The One X for sure. Not the one. Not the
No, I'm saying the One X. The One X very specifically the One X
was the one that got me. The white One S.
Oh yeah.
I was
and
like,
especially compared to what we had
before.
Everything.
Oh yeah.
You had the VCR to the One S. It's like, okay, in Phil we trust. Yes, please. And that's the kind. It's weird because why would that ignite excitement for me? I don't know, because I already have a functioning Series X, and I imagine the insides would be exactly the same.
The X for me it isn't that, like, I don't look at the X as like, man, that's a great console. It's honestly, to me, it's like very utilitarian.
Totally.
Like it's very well put together and made. And it just kind of works, and it's like everything kind of makes sense on it.
Yep.
And I'm just like, yeah, this is good.
I wanted to
like
take my breath away a little bit. Yeah, I kind of want to be like, oh,
it's not fancy.
Yeah, and it's
the
better
S
looking
was,
of.
Not
yes,
the One S.
Yeah,
the Xbox One S was sexy.
Yeah,
it was very nice.
Yeah, the disc drive, just like that nice symmetry. It was white with the black line. Like
I've got my Gears model. The Gears One S.
One S, yeah.
So you had the One X.
The One X Gears is right behind me. This is not sellable. This is not happening.
Nice.
But I just thought like that is such a cool design.
Yeah.
And I would love to get like, maybe it's the size factor as well that I'm kind of talking about here. But we've kind of gotten we got very used to these things being enormous. And I just don't want them to be enormous anymore, Donnie. I want them to be like I want them to be sleek and sexy. My PC is enormous. My tower is huge. I don't want I want a slim. And I want that to like look when you think like
ray
Xbox
tracing, Sean. They need fans and exhaust. You can't,
I guess
they're adapting to the PC architecture.
I suppose, but I remember when they first came out with it, and you had like that explosion. The architecture would like kind of push out, the graphic design would show like, these are all the pieces of it. They look really cool. I can't imagine there's any way to like shrink any of this stuff. I don't know anything about anything. I just want it smaller, and I think that
not the heat sink and everything. Like they haven't got like, it's not like before where like the graphics cards could be made smaller and smaller. They're just making them bigger and bigger.
I know they really
like
are.
literally the latest You know, like the 4090 is like as big as the damn console.
I know,
It is a Series S.
Dude, you need to like house it outside of your
it is the Series. It's the Series S. It is the console. It's a console you slap into your PC to play games like a console.
Yeah, there really is no hope of this, is there? To have, at least not on the Pro. That's the thing. Like, what is the equivalent for these things? Like the PS5 and Series X. Did I hear it's like a 2070 kind of equivalent in there?
I think that's about right. That's probably about right.
So like maybe, I mean, they're 2, almost 3 full graphics card generations since then. I don't know.
I mean, again, you do have the optimization part where the console game will kick above its, the sum of its parts.
Right.
But like back when I was on the 3080 build, my performance was by leaps and bounds better.
Totally.
That's than my Series X was. Yeah. And I would expect that the PS5 Pro is probably in that 3080 range, especially when you count for things like ray tracing and things like that.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be, for whatever reason, even though all I want for them is to give us good video games, some hardware announcement I would still get excited about. I still find myself excited by hardware and
you get that
services.
That digital Series X in white.
Yeah, that's not
it. Is beyond ugly. I did not like it. Have you seen the leaks?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw
it. Yeah, and it probably is real.
Awful.
Yeah, that's not.
For some odd reason, changing the color makes it way worse.
Yeah, and that's a back and forth as old as time. You always you start with black and you're like, oh, that looks so great. And then you get the white one, like, ooh. Or if they started with white, like the 360 started white and then they gave you the black one. It's like, oh, that's great. Like, what is that? Like, you just flip it back and forth. It's not going to work this time, I don't think. That's part of the One S. You had the black one and then Xbox One. God,
I like the Series S in black. It's nice.
Series S in black is nice. It's a nice black, that carbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that quite a lot.
But the One X in white, that ain't it.
Yeah.
And Sean, we still don't have any more wraps. We have no wraps to buy.
I know.
They haven't made one wrap.
If only there was a game coming out.
Wrap. Nothing got a wrap. We have the same camo colors and Starfield wrap.
Starfield is still on my Series X right now.
We didn't even do a Halo wrap. Nothing. There was 0 wraps.
Give us wraps. Come on,
I'm still.
What are you doing?
If you can't tell, people are just upset.
We got toasters, but no wraps.
I can't buy anything Hellblade.
That sucks. Yeah.
Like, I want to spend so much money and I can't. They've given me
$30. That's it. And probably not even that, because you'll get Game Pass.
Of course.
You get it through Game Pass.
Anybody want to buy some Game Pass codes? I might be divesting in some stock.
Yeah, you could. Well, I'll be interested to hear, because like you'll obviously be playing Hellblade through Game Pass. I can't wait to hear on PC. Okay, yeah,
blow it up.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
All the frames, trace the rays, bro. All the stuff. Do the thing.
Trace the rays, bro.
Like, just do whatever it needs to do to look amazing.
That'd be a great shirt. Trace.
I want to be locked away. I want to be locked away in my basement, left alone in my headphones to experience Hellblade.
That's really what I should be doing today. I should be playing through Hellblade 1.
Have you still not?
Not all of it. I've got maybe a third or halfway. Yeah, okay. I know. I'm sorry.
It's not for everybody. It's a niche game.
It's not the game. It's really just me. Like, you know me. Like, this year is as focused on any one game at a time that I've ever been. And that's not really even saying a lot either. But I just get distracted often.
I'm the opposite. Especially for like the last month or so.
Yeah, I've been all over the place.
Whatever my heart tells me.
Yeah, that's been me in the years past, which is why I never finished Hellblade. That's more the reason I didn't finish the first one.
The other night I played 2 hours of Resident Evil 0.
Hell yeah.
Like, I am... And there's a part of me like just going through Switch and I'm like, there are so many old games available on Switch. It's kind of
7 years old, man.
I got I'm very excited about it. I have it near me. I'll talk about it tomorrow on Shack. I got a new controller. I got the it's called the Nixie Warrior controller. It's a GameCube controller. It's like if the Switch had an Elite controller.
Okay.
It's
nice.
It's heavy.
How the hell do you hear about this stuff?
This is got I'm Nintendo. Like, you be in the Nintendo things. You know, it's
I missed it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm also like, you know me. I love, how many controllers do I have?
I know. Yeah.
You know, I got a million controllers. So I love getting a new controller. And so it's a GameCube controller. It's wireless. It's unibody. It's not like Joy-Cons. It's like it is a controller. It's heavy though. It's got some density to it. and it's all like electromagnetic or the electric switches stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the razor buttons, like everything just has like the mouse clicks to it,
Mm-hmm.
which I like. I know Garrett's in chat and he hates that. I like it. And since I've got it, I just like the first thing I want to do is like, let's go play Sunshine. I don't even like Sunshine. And I played like 3 hours of Mario Sunshine. And then I started playing like Cell Damage. And like I was like, I want to play some GameCube games. Like, let's open Smash. Like, that's all I've been doing. I've just been playing games because I have the controller. It's like I'm playing games in service of wanting to use the controller.
There's something about being unapologetic about playing games the way you want to play games. It's just the best.
It's just
like I'm playing games in the exact opposite way right now, and I'm having as much fun as it sounds like you're having playing everything for an hour or 2 hours at a time.
Just scroll through some icons. I'm like last week I was playing Devil May Cry.
Yeah,
I beat the Old Blood, Wolfenstein: The Old Blood.
See, I don't know how you beat anything, dude. That game is awesome. That
is
it is
so
awesome.
Good. Like I was just, there's been a part I've been wanting to replay the Wolfenstein trilogy ever since they kind of boxed that trilogy together.
Yep.
I'm like, I should go back because I played those on different consoles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it doesn't really feel like it's all just kind of disjointed. And I'm like a newfound Wolfenstein fan. I've only played the new ones.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up on the Wolfensteins of old. I've never gone back to them.
Yeah. I don't think you need that. Obviously.
Okay. That's been like my take is that I don't think there's nothing that ever been compelled me to play like Return to Castle Wolfenstein or something. Like
No.
They need to remake it or something if they want me to I think to
Yeah, they
revisit.
kind of did. Yeah.
Did they?
Well, I just like the remake is the reimagining is what you have now. But you're
okay.
saying like, yeah, I wouldn't go back to like those
I meant like
DOS
like
games.
like Quake 2.
Yeah.
Like if they did the Quake remaster for
I
would
see.
play that.
That'd be an interesting thing to do because like at least Quake 3 is like based in like 3D graphics and engines and stuff, and Wolfenstein isn't. It's just sprites in a 3D space, but it's just sprites.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see like how do you do that? You know, like Tomb Raider is a good example of like that's still
like
possible.
Warhammer 40, the Warhammer bolt gun is kind of that, right? It's sprites in a 3D space. Like
yeah, that's I see. That's a good call. Yeah, like
if
what if you had Wolfenstein
I would
but
go
looking
back
like
and
that?
play. But as long as it looks like old Doom from like 1990, I'm like, I don't want to, play
but if it had kind of like that is a good blend.
Yeah.
That would be how you could do it.
Yeah.
Damn, good pull. Holy crap, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I want that.
Well, I like the Boomer Shooter. The Fashion Police Squad is also like that. If you've never played it. It's really good.
I think I had a demo on Steam at some point.
So like I just been wanting to replay Wolfenstein. I've been in the mood. And that's it. I'm just kind of playing games on vibes. Just whatever sounds good in the moment. That's what I'm playing.
That's what's kind of hitting me with Hellblade right now is it seems like this is the first time in a long time where it's like, all right, I am being called to play the game because it is releasing instead of what I've been doing most of the year, which is just playing whatever I want. Like,
well, I've been there for I was sorry, I don't even interrupt you. I was going to say, I've been in that space because there just hasn't been we've been in a moment where there haven't been a lot of releases for me.
Yeah, which is great for me. I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that at all.
I haven't had Stellar Blade or Final Fantasy. I skipped Peach. So it's been
same.
like since like Mario versus Donkey Kong. It's been since then that I've just been meandering playing things.
Yeah, I know my parents, they're pretty open about this. They got me the NES World Championships for my birthday. So it comes out on July 18th and my birthday is on the 28th. So it's like, all right, well, that's my new game. Yeah. From kind of new. Is that a new game to you? Do you think that's new? I mean, it's obviously spending money on a game,
no,
but it's not a new. Yeah. I'm
not
excited
buying
about
that
it
at all.
I just want that cartridge. I got.
That's it. They get
a
lot
caught
of
up by
people that way.
Oh yeah.
This is the first time where I noticed it was noticeable to me. I was like, yeah, that's just nostalgia.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm skipping it.
Yeah, I probably should have.
and I make fun of NES a lot, and I'm not gonna like detract from that. But like, I got the NES Classic.
Yeah.
Like I've got NES Remix. I've been into it before, but I think it's just this game. This game just isn't my jam.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to play 30-second clips of the same game.
Yeah.
Like with Remix, it was fun because it was remixed. It was weird. It was.
I don't want to be thinking logically about this. I'm completely.
I don't want to talk
heartfelt.
you off of it either. Like, be excited. You got the cartridge. Keep it. Put it on the shelf.
I feel like I have like a full awareness of like what this is because like I'm right with you. Everything you're saying, I'm like I can't argue with it. I completely agree.
But the thing that is really not for me. Speed runs, the multiplayer, the leaderboard, I don't want to do that at all.
I'm interested to see if because that's something that if it hooks me, I'm in and I'll be helpless.
And
but
I
if it
expect a lot of
misses,
people
then it's
will.
like, I don't know.
No, I think it's going to blow up. People are going to love that. They're going to try to set the fastest Excite Bike time, the fastest Mario score. People are going to be sharing pictures of their names on leaderboards. Like, it's going to be funny that it'll be like it'll have more impact than like Hellblade. It's like this repackaged NES game.
I think about like Extra Life when a bunch of us are together and you have like, like how many people can play at the same time? Like this, like 5 or 8 or something like that.
8.
Yeah, that would be so fun just to to race each other. So it's that it is that couch co-op. Yeah, it'll be fun.
And it's just that's it for me. I don't play multiplayer.
If you don't play that way,
I just doesn't. That one I felt very unmoved by, and I almost took into consideration like that's interesting. Everybody's excited, and
no, it's just it's so shamelessly cashing in on nostalgia. That's just that's just cashing on the brand, the World Championships.
They have like this lull as they prepare for a new console, and they release a game that has more people excited than like the brand new games that are coming out.
Totally.
That's their position. That's their privilege as Nintendo. That's like what they can do. They do it better than anybody.
They definitely earned it. They saved
Xbox
the industry.
Could use a moment right now where they release a Fable remake or something of years.
Don't make me say it again. Don't make me say it again.
People would love it.
Gears.
Banjo. Gears
Anniversary Edition, a Banjo Anniversary, like that should be it's right there. Halo did it. Let them all have anniversary editions, and that's a thing.
Yeah,
because they're done so well that even though Xbox does back compat so well and all these other things, the anniversary editions are you cannot ignore them. Do that, please. Blur set them off on all. Can you imagine like Halo 2 anniversary style cutscenes, but for Gears of War? That would be incredible.
Yeah,
I would want that, and you could flip back and forth. Yeah, cash in on it a little bit. Who cares? Capcom did it. This is how Capcom did it.
Had that tease that there might be multiple Gears of War things. Did you see that?
Hell yeah! I'm unreasonably hyped for this stuff. Gears is it. Gears. I don't care. I'm here for put
more. I don't know where I'm going to put more Lancers, but I'll figure it out.
Give it to me.
We'll figure it out.
I will lose my mind. For Gears. I want one of those moments.
Gears is the thing that really, really has always kept me tied.
Yeah.
Like I can't not play Gears. Gears is that franchise. Like I was saying with PlayStation, if they had an Infamous, I would buy a console. Gears is
that's such a shame. Infamous is gone forever. That is the worst.
I do have every console. There is something like that for me, and Gears is that. Like I think I'll still stick around. At the very least, keep Game Pass or buy the game on PC because Gears is that franchise.
Give it to me, please. Yeah.
Jess asks if Rogue Squadron holds up on GameCube. It does.
I should play that one.
That's a game.
That's a gorgeous looking game.
Did you remember remakes?
Yeah. I just remember like the red engines on the X-Wing. Like when I think of Rogue Squadron, that's on the box art, right? Is that what it like? And, I mean, that's how you view the game for the most part.
Rogue Squadron's great.
That's
if you had a
good.
A remastered Rogue Squadron 1 and 2.
Ooh, please.
Instant buy.
Oof. Yeah. If only ran these video game companies. If only we could just like bring these ideas to life. This is very much if we ran Nintendo.
Xbox?
If we ran,
we should do an if we ran Xbox. We could just name Sweet Hangs that.
It's time.
If we ran Xbox.
It's time. This is why Bobby and I did if we ran Nintendo because we sucked. It's like, how are you going to celebrate this ecosystem?
So, for everything that we talked about in the last 3 hours, I would like to bring it home because I'm hungry.
Fair.
But I want to ask you, how do you see it moving forward? Do you see them changing anything? Because there's lots of, I think it's worth talking about with us two here, because I've seen all kinds of things. People talk about killing Game Pass, stopping day one on Game Pass, putting Gears on PlayStation. There's lots of things in the air right now of things that can be done. How do you see it, and what do you want to see it, and how do you think they're going to move forward?
It's got to be led with Call of Duty going into Game Pass. Everything falls from there. That's got to move the needle or it doesn't. And to me, that's the litmus test. Sounds like that's what they're going to do. But I think.
What if it doesn't?
What if it doesn't move the needle?
Yeah,
then
what if they spent all this money into Game Pass and then they put it in there? Like, at what point do we start to ask if Game Pass, like, if it isn't, like, this isn't working? What do they do if they get there? What do they do then?
I would still love for like more of a, it just costs money, but I want more time to do it differently. I talked a little bit about PC. Like I would love for there to be a huge push for Game Pass on PC because there are devices there. There are people playing games on PC. There are millions of PCs out there. You're not selling any more consoles right now. So I'd love to see some sort of push there.
I'd love them to integrate Game Pass subscription into Steam.
Sure.
I don't know,
yeah.
I don't know what kind of check has to be written between Valve and them to do that.
There needs to be a foothold there.
They can't. I don't think they can win positioning like a new storefront against Steam.
Agreed.
So like if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
You know, like I think like you've got Steam Decks and things like this that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you were like, hey, if you subscribe to Game Pass on PC, you can just play the games included in Steam.
Right.
Which gets me to back. I think the thing that's holding them up is the third-party games. And I've been wondering for some time now if who wrote that? Jess, you have no idea how much I miss Quiznos. We don't have Quiznos in Georgia anymore. They all got closed down.
Delicious.
I worked at a Quiznos in high school.
I love Quiznos.
And loved it.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
The reason the Steam thing doesn't work, the reason the PlayStation thing doesn't work, Nintendo, is the third parties. You've got all of these other games that are in there, and that affects the other folks' business.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep wondering if we could ever see in the future a first party only Game Pass. To bring it to
like
Steam,
Ubisoft.
to bring it to PlayStation, like Ubisoft. It's Call of Duty, it's
that's
Fallout, it's Doom, it's
That's
Gears, it's Halo, it's Ninja Theory, it's Double Fine, it's Obsidian, it's Wasteland, it's Forza, and it's its own subscription.
Wow. Yeah. I can't argue with this at all because they have so many studios, so much IP, so many games.
I think there's growth there if you can bring it to new marketplaces.
Interesting. And it's just
how do you get new people? Like you could still have big Game Pass Ultimate on consoles and PC, but you could have like a bottom tier. You know, like, hey, for this tier, you get first party Game Pass, first party Xbox content only. And you launch that on Switch, you launch that on PlayStation, you launch that on PC, and maybe collectively between the three, maybe you can find another 10 or 15
You're
million
blowing my
customers.
mind with this right now. Yeah, why wouldn't they? Yeah, if it's all first party, but it's first party, but there's still, it's first party, but there's still, yeah. Can they not block it?
No,
like,
I don't.
They're not exclusive games.
I don't think PlayStation could block a first party Game Pass because Ubisoft is there. Like you could go to court over that's antitrust.
Ubisoft doesn't have Ubisoft Plus on PlayStation.
They do.
Do they?
Yeah. It's changed. It was in part of like PlayStation Plus, and now you can subscribe to it separately.
Yeah. Well, then there it is. Wow.
And could you imagine if it was like an add-on to like Steam, like EA Play? You know, like with your Steam account, you can just $4.99. You can play all the EA games in Steam. You could do that with Game Pass.
Then you lose EA. Like people discount this all the time with Game Pass. You have EA Play, and that's an awesome deal.
It is, but it's also like 6-8 months later.
I know, and nobody really makes it. I don't know.
Immortals of Avium has yet to hit Game Pass.
Yeah, I know. You're really holding out on that. I bought that one. That was one of the last.
Yeah, they've put it everywhere. They've put it on sale. It's in PlayStation Plus. They've put it everywhere but the Vault.
Yeah.
When I've been saying from the get-go, they should have launched it into the Vault.
Yeah.
And got people playing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I don't mind this idea. I just think about like, I want to look at like a before and after on this. Because there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize, like what you would lose with this. There's a lot of games.
Do you think they're gonna put Gears of War on PlayStation?
No, I don't think so.
Because that's been a rumor that if they have some sort of Phoenix collection or another anniversary, that those older Gears of War games could come to other consoles.
Oh, this is a big one. So like, there's not really much reason for me to say no. Like everything is pointing towards everything's coming everywhere. Like there's not really anything that suggests that this is contained. Because there's not really any identity for the Xbox console as an ecosystem in general. So why Sea of Thieves yes and Gears of War no? Why so
Call of Duty yes and
like it creates this weird like pedestal for some of these games that they're not going to go over. So I just want to like make it clear that I'm aware of that when I say this is probably more just wishful thinking for some weird, stupid reason. Like, why do I wish that Gears of War stays on Xbox? I don't exactly know. Maybe it's just in my mind, it's the last bastion of hope that like Xbox as a system, as a console, has any hope of being there with us in the future.
Self-sustainable. It can be its own thing.
Yeah, like this. Where PlayStation kind of is now, Hellblade aside, but where PlayStation is now with PC is kind of where I hope Xbox can end up with other systems like PlayStation. So, what was the game that just released? It was Ghostwire. Was it Ghostwire? No, Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima just released on PC. Mm-hmm. That's the cadence that I could see. So, put Gears like Ultimate Edition on PlayStation. Sure. Like put the old ones on PlayStation. Let you hit 3 or 5 years or something, or even 2 years. I don't know. That number I think is important, and people need to understand how long it will take for games to finally get over to PlayStation, so that they don't just go like, "Oh, I'll just wait for this to be over there anyways." Like the exclusivity, I think, still matters, whether people like that or not.
That rumor in particular, I mean, I think it's going to harp for a lot of people. Gears coming over is a way different than a Grounded or a Hi-Fi. Like Gears
totally
being a core pillar of the entire ecosystem.
Yes.
And there is a big part of me, it's kind of where I was going with the first party Game Pass. Because I kind of feel like if they can't right this ship soon, I think that's like ultimately maybe where this goes, where it ends. Like they can't pull the plug. I don't think you can pull the plug on Game Pass. That's suicide. You're gonna kill everything. So like, how do you reconfigure Game Pass to try and find more success in a market where, like, let's say you've been denied? Because I think you go first party publishing only, and you put all of your properties on it, and then you take that everywhere. And I don't think we see a future in the next 10 years where Xbox is the leader unless they go third party. I think we could see Xbox as like the leading third party video game publisher. Like right there battling out with Take-Two and EA. I think they can be right there. With Call of Duty, they absolutely can. But like, can they be the market leader in a console space, like a self-sustaining hardware software ecosystem?
Yeah.
I don't think that's in the cards. I think their next 10 games could be great, and they still not be there.
Maybe. This all assumes everything in PlayStation Land is wonderful as well. So there is a lot of momentum there. I think about when you talk about it in this way, I think it's interesting because it's like there are more games that Xbox owns that are cross-platform than are not.
Yep.
Like way more. It's not like it's actually like very few that are exclusive now.
That's when the multi-plat stuff started happening. I was like, guys,
this isn't new. Yeah.
Call of Duty, Minecraft,
Psychonauts.
Hellblade's on Switch. Psychonauts, like
the one anyway.
Yeah, we really don't act like this hasn't been a thing for like 6 years.
Yeah. No,
it's just not with Gears and Forza and Halo.
Yeah, it's kind of a surprising result of all the purchasing that they've done. Is they've purchased ZeniMax and Bethesda, and like, they're all third party. Like Doom is an Xbox property. Doom guy can sit there and shake hands with Halo man, but Doom is on PlayStation.
And if bringing Hellblade to PlayStation or bringing Hi-Fi Rush to PlayStation, if it could do more for those studios and keeping those studios around, then I'm all for it.
I mean, of course, if that's the only thing that's going to keep these studios open, then
if that's the only way to keep the lights on, then do that. But
it's just too bad Microsoft is such a struggling company. It's just too bad they can barely keep the lights on over there.
I do agree with you. Like if the summer that we're looking at, And I love that we're doing this now because we are right here in this window where we can speculate about rumors, but we don't really know. So like we can revisit this.
Yeah.
Like in a month from now, you and I can get back together and be like, okay, where were our heads at a month ago? Was it good, bad? I like that. Because if they announce Gears for PlayStation, like there's a big part of me. It's like, what are we even doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? I mean, you
honestly,
might as well just go third party. Like it would be easier to message and sell and stand on. Like if you're putting Gears on place, why not Halo? Why not at that point? Why not anything? Put everything on it.
Well, this is a scary thought for content creation, but like, what about the Xbox Drive? What about the Xbox podcast just in general?
It'd be like having an Activision drive.
Kind of. And in that case, that would probably be, and this is appropriate. It'd be a PC. We'd actually switch it to a PC gaming podcast.
Thing? Okay.
We'd drop Xbox and just
see that.
PC gaming.
But I also think I still think you could want, like they have enough franchises. Like them going third party wouldn't equate for them. Like they could still have hardware. They could have controller. Like there's still a lot there, but the PC move would probably be the right one
to play games for sure. Is it a podcast? I don't know.
And I think a lot of like the standard Xbox things would probably switch to PC focus.
Totally. Well, it's interesting because like all of a sudden, as someone who like has all these podcasts and when you think about like opportunity cost, suddenly it's like think about them as your own little mini studios as well.
Yeah.
Is that where I want to focus the time and resources to a dedicated Xbox thing, or is there somewhere else that we could throw Mitch Fee and Bowser and myself? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just talking a lot. Like, this is completely hypothetical. This is literally off the top of the dome. I don't want to scare anybody.
That's why I think it's fun. A month from now, we can be like, how stupid was that?
Totally. Yeah, exactly. And I just want to I like thinking in this way. And that's why I like chatting with you about this kind of stuff, because I can just explore it a little bit without being married to any thought that comes out of it. It's just, how can you not think about what is the future of Xbox-centric platforms when you're talking about this ecosystem just going third party and it not really being a thing anymore? Like, how can you have that gigantic change and not change the content related to it?
I seriously could see, let's say Call of Duty doesn't move the needle and these things, nothing picks up at the end of this generation. I could see in 2 to 4 years time, Xbox shifting to, we have a dedicated handheld, that's our console.
Yeah.
And you can also play our games on your console or your PC, whether it be Switch or PlayStation. And then they become third party, but their hardware is a dedicated handheld.
Yeah. Everybody
keeps saying handheld, and I think they think it's going to exist somewhere. And I keep wondering, like, could that be the play? Could they approach a handheld like a Switch? Like, could they have like either a dock or a TV attachment that does cloud or something?
Oh, I've talked about this. Yeah. I wanted to power it.
Yeah, the console is the handheld.
Yes, I want. That's how the Surface laptops or this. What the heck were those called?
I've never had a Surface.
Yeah, there's a version of the Surface that like would attach to like a keyboard, and in the keyboard was like additional processing power, and I thought that was really interesting. I don't know if they still do it. It was at one point in time that was.
But it's like it's kind of like it's almost like a cop out, because like essentially they're going third party, but they're making a very specific platform, like piece of hardware that keeps them like their own, like they're still in the console space, but like kind of not really, right? Kind of like Nintendo.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want this to happen. I want them to release Call of Duty and Game Pass and more great games in Game Pass, and Game Pass take off, and them double down on Game Pass. That's what I want to happen. I just don't necessarily think that's in the cards anymore. I'm not sure if they're going to weather the storm to get there. But yeah, I've been given more thought to that handheld idea, and I could see them using the handheld to pivot.
Maybe,
it's honestly like it helps them. It just helps. Like if they don't make a PlayStation like box.
Yeah,
it helps them detach that comparison. They're not Pepsi, Coke, they're Sprite. All of a sudden, we've got Coke, Sprite, and Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper, I'll take. Yeah,
like there's something else. They're a different thing, and then they could start. Then all of a sudden, I think people are way more accepting of third-party games.
Sure,
because it's like I don't want a handheld. Well, you can still play Gears of War and Halo. I do want a handheld. Well, let us tell you about like we are targeting our games specifically for this SKU moving forward, and we're going to make the best.
Nintendo just
handheld
abandoned
gaming
that
thing.
model,
Like
console
the-
plus handheld.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Something we were talking about had me thinking about Call of Duty. Right now has its mainline Call of Duty games. You got Warzone, but I kind of want like Destiny style Call of Duty. This always online games as a service Call of
Looter
Duty.
shooter? Isn't that Warzone?
Kind of. Warzone's battle royale. It's session based. It's one at a
they have
time.
other things too, though, right? They have zombies and stuff like, don't they?
Yeah, I
thought
guess
there were
so.
other modes. I have not played Warzone in years. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why I want this.
There's also
like Activision's probably
well,
burned from the whole Bungie thing anyways.
I was going to say there's also Call of Duty Mobile. That's probably more of like what you were talking about.
Yeah, no, just ongoing, like I don't know, like MMO, that MMO
Yeah,
with Call of
gotcha.
Duty. Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't think they want that. They want you to keep buying them.
Yeah, I mean, and they don't have to. Like Warzone is printing money right
Are
now.
you excited to go back to Black Ops?
I am. I love
Me
Black
too.
Ops. Yeah,
I feel like
love
it's
that.
in the
That's
time.
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think they could announce a World War II game, and that would also be good. At about now, maybe this time
they
next
did the
year.
World War II, and people were not happy.
Yeah, it was sort of like. Well, I didn't mind the last World War II game, but it was kind
people
of.
didn't, right?
Yeah, it didn't really have
People
anything.
didn't like going back.
They didn't like going back. It's just when I think of World at War, maybe it's just because that's where zombies started, or I'm not sure. Or it was the Pacific, like they were in Japan a lot. Like there's something interesting about it. Like I just don't want to do Normandy again. There's got to be other ways to still do that.
Yeah.
I refuse to think that there's not an interesting way to do.
I think the
World War
way
II.
to do this now is like the Black Ops way, where you have a dream or something and they take you back and you get your dose of nostalgia, but it's not the whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cold War way. I'm excited. Like this Gulf
Or
War,
World War
like
III.
the new
Hell,
setting
go to-
and stuff. Like, I'm excited. I'm kind of hoping.
Same.
I'm hoping that something's different here.
Yeah. Nice. Well, we got about a month.
And I'm excited to play. I'm hoping I can play Modern Warfare 3 that day. I've been holding off on getting Modern Warfare 3 again until it comes to Game Pass.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh, that's
'cause mine was super buggy. Like
Yeah.
PC day one was super
That's
buggy.
right. That's right.
So I was like, I'm gonna just return this and hold off. And I've been holding firm to that.
I'm glad we could talk excitedly about Call of Duty. I don't think that happens very often.
No,
glad-
it doesn't.
We got Mitch on the Xbox Drive. He loves Apex, and I love that. Like, because that's not a zero audience on playing Apex and shooters and stuff.
Sure.
I hate that. And it's the same thing with sports that we talk about all the time. Like, these games are great. They're super fun. They're fun. Like,
Some of
there's
the best.
communities around them. Totally.
If you care about big production video games, Call of Duty is about as good. Like they are right there. And I was explaining the coworker I talked about that only plays Call of Duty. We had another coworker that was sitting next to us, and she was asking about it because I mentioned, I was like, yeah, there's a movie in the works and stuff and a brand. And she's like, yeah, but you just run around and shoot everybody. And I'm like, she was like, her question was like, why would they make a movie? And I'm like, you have no idea how cinematic the Call of Duty campaigns are.
Yeah.
It's some of the best action storytelling games you can get.
Yeah.
Our campaigns, just people don't play them, so they don't get talked about.
Totally.
You know, I stand by Infinite Warfare forever, and I will. And there are other ones, the Modern Warfare trilogy. And
That might be
Soap
one I
and
go back
Price
to as
and-
well, because you were singing the song for Gears 4
never-
for a long time, and I went back. I'm like, oh, I was wrong about Gears 4.
I'll never step off of that. It's just campaign wise only. It's all I've ever played. It's the only one I go off of. It's my favorite campaign.
I might have to go back because I thought
It's like
I
the
thought it
most
was Advanced
downvoted
Warfare.
Call of Duty game of all time.
Yeah.
And here's the
that
thing.
sucks.
Here's the thing. I realize that some people hear that and they're like, that's a hot take. I mean this in the least amount of hot take ways I possibly can tell you. Like I played that game. I remember taking a picture of the credit screen, running right to Discord, being like, how fucking great was that?
Nice.
Like this was amazing.
Yeah, I might have
It's
to go
not because-
back, dude. I might have to go back.
I kind of like Ghosts. I didn't think Ghost was half as bad as people said they do, but that to me is like that's kind of a hot take because I do realize it's not great though.
Pretty rough. Yeah, it's pretty rough.
The difference is Infinite is actually great.
Yeah.
It's actually, and I also love, what was the other one? I like Advanced Warfare too.
See, that's the one in my mind that was the best that had been forgotten, and I recently gone back to it. And I was like, ooh, maybe
Infinite
not what I thought.
crushes that game.
Maybe,
But I do
maybe.
like Advanced Warfare. I liked it. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Dang, Call of Duty, nice.
But I also am excited about Call of Duty. I want to hold that line. I want to hold that line because I don't know why I harp on it so much, why it's such a thorn in my side, but I really hate listening to, like, you know, I use Mike a lot, and that's just because I like Mike and Jeff and I listen to their podcasts. I don't listen to as many anymore. So when I say this, it's not so much targeted at them, it's targeted at 10 years of popular gaming pundits dissing Call of Duty.
Totally.
It's such a popular thing to do. Like, this goes back to the IGN, GameSpot days, and then all through the kind of funny, like, it's just gaming as a whole, like our bubble of gaming, this like pundit YouTuber gaming journalism sphere, they love to shit on Call of Duty constantly, and I don't understand it. I never have.
Yeah,
because Modern Warfare was incredible.
Yeah,
and Modern Warfare 2 was incredible, and the remake trilogy was incredible, and we've had a lot of good and bad in between, but mostly good. Like, they're mostly good games.
They just don't, I don't think they play it, or maybe they're over it for whatever reason, and it's like, oh, that's fine, then just kind of like move on, like you're not playing whatever other game that's popular, and you just, like, it's the same as Fortnite and Roblox. You get to, these things get so
it's weird that the world's most popular game, like, we have to be like, I'm proud, I'm happy that we can sit together and talk about being excited. Like, it's almost like we have to root for it, like an under, like, it is the most popular game in the world. Exactly. It's a fucking juggernaut.
Hey man, look,
you know, like,
I'll come to the defense of Nickelback.
All of your favorite games pale in comparison to like one annual release of Call of Duty. And yeah, and like, exactly, it gets treated that way.
Yeah. And
I'm not sure if it's just the shooter bro thing, or if it's that it's a war thing and it's a political thing.
It's annualized. I think that's the connection with sports games is
it's a why do some of the most popular games get so dismissed or mistreated by the outlets that make their business covering this very,
because they get tired of it.
It'd be like if you had like a PC website or newspaper and you just didn't cover Mac.
Yeah.
You know, like, how is this possible? Or if you have an entire magazine about cars, but you just don't cover anything.
No Ford.
You know, it's like, that's always been a thing. Is what it is. It sticks with me. And every time I hear anybody ever be like, oh, Call of Duty, I'm like, oh, I can't stand it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
And then I might just be holding.
We stand in solidarity together.
I do love Call of Duty. It is that. Like, I'm not a Battlefield guy. I'm not an Apex person. I definitely don't Destiny. I do like Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty every year.
Nice.
So,
yeah, it's coming back. I can't wait.
I'm excited. Gulf War. I'm hoping it's like super fun. I'm thinking, like, you know, it's very like oceanic and Pacific and you know, like different look and palette and all that, and be very bright and stuff. That'd be great.
You just made me realize, like, what am I talking about World War II still for? As if 70 years hasn't happened since then, and there have been other wars that we can go to. Like, we don't have to always be like at infinite war. We don't have to go into the future. We don't have to be like modern warfare. We can still go back in time, but not be World War II. I'm good with that too.
Call of Duty on Mars or something.
I just feel like the choices have been either modern warfare or World War II, and in one case, infinite. But like, Vietnam. Have we done Vietnam yet?
The Black Ops.
Was it? Oh, yeah, I guess so. Okay, so we've done that.
Yeah, like flashbacks
Gulf War.
And stuff, but we didn't do we could do more with Vietnam. There's a lot more jungle things you could do.
Totally. Sure. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
What was the one that we just did in Russia? Remember that one with the 4 different characters?
Yeah. I didn't like that one. The Cold War.
No, not Cold War. Cold War was like the...
Is that not Russia?
No, Cold War was the was it Cold War? Maybe it was Cold War. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking Cold War was the what's the damn actor? The Kurt Russell one, right?
Yes. Are you thinking Vanguard? I didn't play Vanguard.
Vanguard. I like Vanguard. Vanguard was fun. I'd like to
I can't believe I didn't play that.
That's one when all the Call of Duties at Game Pass, that's when people should fire up.
Is that the World War II one that people didn't like? Maybe that's what
Hang on.
Because there was World War II.
I gotta make sure I'm thinking of the right ones. Because there's been so many.
Sledgehammer. That's why people didn't like it. Call of Duty Vanguard. 2021.
Yeah, I think it's Vanguard.
Yeah. World War II. Yeah.
Yeah, you play as different characters throughout the campaign. It's like a group. There's like a group,
Yeah, that's
like
pretty
a cast
classic
of
with the World
characters.
War II games. Yeah, like
And you
go,
play like there's a sniper. It's very like enemy at the gates. Like she's a
Cool.
sniper, and then you play as the other guy, and you kind of hop around.
That's
and then
like
you all
the-
come.
Sorry.
You all come together to take on the big bad at the end, and it's just fun.
Oh, that's
like it's
cool.
just fun. It's like diversity, and it's fun.
Nice.
I
Maybe
do
that'll
think
come to Game Pass. I'll try
It
that
was a
out.
little buggy on release, and I definitely don't remember people didn't like that one much at all. And that one is
Metacritic
like
73.
and that's probably right. It probably
Yeah.
out of the Call of Duty, it probably is like a 6 or 7 Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you it's amazing. I'm telling you it was fun. I had fun with it. And when it all hits Game Pass, like that's when I could see picking up.
Yeah.
I could see people being like, "This is fun," you know.
I'm here for it. I can't wait for the and Ubisoft has a thing. I booked off the Monday,
Dude,
so I'm here for Ubisoft.
we're gonna get a new Assassin's Creed game.
Hell yeah.
We're expecting a new Dragon Age game to come out. I've been
Yay.
I've been pumping the drum for this. I think this year is better than people think it is. I just don't think we know everything that's coming out yet.
I hope
But there's
so.
there's like dozens of games that are like on the cusp of either should be releasing or should be dated soon, like that have been delayed in development. I'm like, I think we're gonna get some
on.
damn video games.
Yes.
So maybe not as good as last year. I'm not saying it's gonna be the best year of ever, but I think we're getting some video games that I think it's going to be exciting.
But we should get organized for our the hype train. All these
I don't know if I'm
showcases.
doing
and
any
everything.
of the Summer Games Fest stuff.
I don't know what Summer Game. I don't know. I don't know what is Summer Games Fest and not. I just know Xbox has a showcase, and the next day they've got a Ubisoft thing. So that's all I've got right now.
I don't think I'm planning to take off to stream the showcases.
No, I'm all in. I can't wait. I'm pumped. Bring back
I know.
Aisha Tyler to the Ubisoft ones. Bring
That would
back
be
all the
great.
things that used to be cool, man. I want it to be like the good old days. Damn it.
Let's go back.
Oh, let's go back. We got to go back. Chelsea and I were watching Lost last night. Like, just nothing new is good. Everything
Yeah,
old is
I
awesome.
agree with you. I'm going to
I'm an
miss
old man.
that 2008 to 2015 time
Oh
period.
man, what a time! What a time to be
Mhm.
alive. Yep. Okay, well,
call
should
it
eat,
there?
hey? Yeah, you want to
I'm
eat?
starving.
Yeah. me
Okay,
too.
everybody, we'll catch you next month, and hopefully, we'll see if
We're gonna be
Xbox can
super
dig
happy.
themselves out of this hole.
Everything's
Yeah,
gonna
it'd
be great.
nice.
Mhm.
Or it could be way worse. Who knows?
I would love to
We'll
start the
see.
next episode with like this as the start to it, just like us closing, like previously on Sweet Hangs, and us going goodbye,
Sean,
everybody.
what if they go first partying?
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be so good. Like this is like an episodic
Telltale
kind of
thing?
thing. Yes.
What if Gears comes to PlayStation? What if they go
Oh,
third
man.
party? Like, what
Yeah.
Sean a handheld.
Oh, that'd be so good to piece together.
They
Oh, I would
announced
pay money for it.
console and like 18 more exclusives.
I would pay money for it. If somebody is out there listening still and you've got the chops, I don't have a lot of money to give you, but I'd pay you some
you
money.
do.
Buy you a
He's
gift card or
selling
something.
3DSs.
I mean,
I will trade you a 3DS amiibo.
we can work something out. How about that? If somebody wants to put together like a
Spin the wheel. Pick something off the
2-minute hype
shelf.
package, yes, that would be so good. As a previously on Sweet Hangs, I'm here for it. That would be so good. Oh, that would make
be
me
fun.
happy. Yeah, the big moments. I love it. All right, the end.
All right. Catch you next time.